राम जी शुरू करवाइए।
हाँ, good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Our today's speaker, Ramesh Patodia, President of Views Exchange and past Chairman EIRC, CA Nitesh Moore, Sanjay Da, and all other dignitaries who have joined from different parts of the country. I am seeing Mr. Pradeep Goel from Barnala, and our Sanjay Da is from Bangalore, and others have joined from Calcutta and other parts of the city. Welcome to all of you this fine morning after a hectic work on 30th September. And now we have to join in the task of our trust NGO audit and return filing work. Please, Nitesh organize this today's Sunday morning workshop related to 10B, 10BV, and learned speaker is none other than our own Ramesh Patodia. May I now request Nitesh Moore to please give his welcome address. Yes.
Thank you, Hariram. Friends, happy Sunday morning to all of you. There are so many extensions also which I must communicate to you. Friends, as far as ICI is concerned, they are required to upload the documents relating to your KYM as well as the ICI fees is required also to be paid. So that date has been extended by the ICI by 1 month. Then this we have the last date for NEF also. So NEF, those who have not filled the form are required to fill the form. Then this Sunday morning, you must utilize your 2,000 rupees. That's the last 7 days extension. If you are having anything in your wardrobe or anywhere else, so ask your family members to search all the 2,000 rupees so that you can deposit it right now. The next day, within the next, it has been extended to 6th October perhaps. So with these, but friends, there is no extension for as far as the registration or re-registration part of the charitable trust is concerned. So those they have to pay hefty penalty if you have not re-registered. I think Ramesh Patodia sir will agree that yesterday was the last date for re-registration of the charitable trust, and if you have not applied for re-registration, then your fair value of the net worth that can also be taxed. So such type of hectic provisions are there. You will lose all the benefits of trust. I would request the speaker if there is any way out, any delay, we can apply anywhere. Such type of provisions is there if he can enlighten us. Friends, 2 days this workshop or BCM, whatever you say on charitable trust. Yes, there is no CP, but there would be enough of knowledge with the speaker like Ramesh Patodia We are having Dr. Akhil Jindalji. We are having other speakers who are preparing for the guidance note of the ICI. I am sure there would be a manthan, and this manthan would result in Amrit that would bring to us that we can that inculcate in the in the form of the knowledge to update our knowledge, to use the knowledge for the benefit of the client. So with these, I would request Sanjay Da, if you want to say something, sir. Sanjay Da, you had we are very thankful you have joined from Bangalore today.
Good morning, everyone. I have come to Bangalore yesterday, but today morning I have tried and I've got the line. I think this will be a very, very useful discussion for all the participants. I am hearing everything. Okay, Nitesh, go ahead.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. With this, request Hariramji to kindly introduce the learned speaker, please.
Our learned speaker, none other than Ramesh Patodia. Ramesh Kumar Patodia is an advocate and chartered accountant and is in continuous practice in Kolkata for last 37 years and has been practicing mainly in consultancy and litigations in the field of direct, indirect taxes, FEMA, and other civil matters across the courts and tribunals in India. He is regular speaker at several professional organizations and regular contributor to various publications by way of articles on professional topics. And you will be glad to know that some of the cases of our Patodia ji has been reported also. He has also written several books on professional topics, including commentary on Hindu undivided family and complete guide to reassessment under 148, the Income Tax Act 1961, etc. He is also trustee of Sri Rani Sati Mandir, Jhunjhunu and Gayatri Foundation, Kolkata, and actively participates in social work. Now, I request Advocate Ramesh Patodia to please deliberate on the topic. Thank you.
Just to those who are saying that there is no audio, I will request him to kindly log out and then again log in. The audio problem is from your side. From our side, there is no audio problem. I'm sure that Ramesh Bhaiya will agree that there is no audio problem. Sir, you have to unmute. Ramesh Bhaiya, you have to unmute. Ramesh Bhaiya, please unmute.
I think I am audible to all.
Yes. Excellent.
So thank you, Hariramji, for giving my introduction. Thank you, Nitesh for organizing this wonderful seminar, and which topic is close to my heart, friends. And Sanjay, who has...
See, in this Sunday morning when we are worrying that members will not come,
I am coming to that. Sanjay Da is joining from Bangalore. It is an honor for me. Friends, let me tell you, today morning only, early morning, Nitesh ji, as usual, he doesn't see any time. He is always for the profession. And he called me and I told him, Nitesh ji, yesterday chartered accountants have worked up to midnight. So do you think that this seminar, the time which you have fixed, is it justified? So Nitesh ji jokingly said that don't worry, I will hit century. So I think he has not only hit century, but he has hit double century. So friends, thank you. Let us all thank Nitesh ji for his zeal in taking up cause of the profession. And friends, as we can all see, the number of participants have joined on this Sunday morning after hectic work. That shows that the topic which we are dealing with today is a very, very interesting, very, very useful topic, and where all of us have got something to learn from each other, friends. I see. Even I will learn by way of discussion with all of you. So, And recently, friends, uh, I had been to one of the study circle deliberating on this very topic. There also the time was very limited as it is today, friends. I want to just apologize that I will have to leave this webinar at about 12:45 for some urgent pressing issues, which I have told Nitesh ji in advance. So my endeavor would be to briefly touch upon this topic in short, and then deal with your questions, because I can see there are few questions which have already been put up in the chat box. So therefore, my endeavor would be to deal with those questions as well as other questions which are taken up, friends. So, friends, charitable trust, NGOs, non-government organization, that is NGO, not-for-profit organization, that is NPO, or any, say, we are now listening about social, social stock exchange also. So therefore, in times to come, maybe you will see that a not-for-profit university is getting listed on a stock exchange, and you are able to buy the shares of that NGO, NPO also. That will soon be a reality, friends. So it's a very, very important topic, friends. And before I jump onto the actual, whatever your queries are, whatever our difficulties are, I briefly want to touch upon the scheme of the Act insofar as Income Tax Act is concerned in relation to these type of entities, friends. The Income Tax Act, the provisions are contained in section 11, 12 and 13 of the Income Tax Act mainly, friends. These three sections deal with the manner of taxation of these entities. And for last 5 years, I can see that number of changes are being made each year in the budget. Substantial changes are being made in relation to the provisions which are there in these NPO and NGOs, friends. So government is tightening the the belt, because gone are the days when you could have managed your NGO, NPO with fairly easily, and even if you made certain violations, there was no issue because it was all being done manually. But now the things are being done by CPC in Bangalore, and that too by the machine. There is no manual intervention, friends. It is all artificial intelligence is at play. And you can see yesterday only, I was told that a return was filed, and within 30 seconds, the intimation was there on the mail. So therefore, friends, this is all done by artificial intelligence. Machine has occupied the man of the work of the individuals, friends. And therefore, whatever you feed in the machine will react to whatever you have given, and it will compare with the provisions. If there is any violation, it will result into the adjustments which are sent by way of intimation under section 143 of the Income Tax Act. So now, friends, in so far as charitable trust, and when, friends, I am saying charitable trust, I mean charitable trusts as well as section 8 company, as well as society which is registered under the Society Registration Act. All these kind of entities are covered by same set of provisions. There is no separate provisions for any one of them, including the return which is to be filed. The form which is to be filed is ITR 7, I think, for all these type of cases. It is not that you have to file ITR 5 if it is AOP. In case you are enjoying exemption under section 11 of the Income Tax Act, the same income tax return is to be filed for all type of entities irrespective of their constitution, friends. That is one. Now, friends, section 11 of the Income Tax Act says that income of these entities are covered by section 11 exemption if 85% of income is spent. And when 85% of income is to be spent, friends, there is no difference between an expenditure which you are doing by way of a revenue expenditure or an expenditure which you are doing by a way of a capital expenditure. The difference of revenue and capital expenditure is only for the purpose of computation of income under the Income Tax Act in relation to a entity which is a profit entity, profit making entity. But in so far as it is not for profit entities which is enjoying Section 11 benefit, whether it is a capital expenditure or a revenue expenditure, all of that is eligible to be treated as application of income. And when you are having any income under the act, here also, friends, income again means the regular income, normal income which you are having, as well as income by way of, say, donation, or income by way of, say, membership fees, etc. If you are taking membership fees, whether it is life membership fees or general membership fees, etc. However, here, in so far as income is concerned, the Income Tax Act says that if you are receiving any income which is by way of a donation, which is corpus donation, where the donor has given you a instruction that the amount which I am giving you should be treated as a corpus donation. There is a specific direction from the donor, then that amount is not included within the computation of income which is liable to be spent. That is 85% of such income by way of corpus donation is not required to be spent. It is covered by way of exemption under Section 12(1)(d) of the Income Tax Act. A specific exemption is there. And friends, let me deal with a question which was there in the chat box, which I could glance through when the meeting was being prepared. There was a question that whether the auditor is required to see that whether there is any instruction or not, or he can rely upon the reflection of such amount as corpus donation by the trustees or by the management of the NPO or NGO, as the case may be. Friends, in my opinion, as an auditor, when you are reporting in form number 10B or 10BB, as the case may be, that this is the amount which is eligible for covered under 12(1)(d) as corpus donation, I think you must verify whether there is any instruction, specific instruction is there from the donor or not. If you do not do so, I think that will not be a correct reflection of the amount as corpus donation. It must be verified, friends. So now coming back to Section 11 provisions, friends. Section 11, the entire income is to be considered. Then corpus donation is not eligible for, is not to be treated as income. It is outside the scope of 85%. That is as far as income is concerned. As far as expenditure is concerned, I have already told you that capital as well as revenue expenditure is eligible to be treated as application of income, because the provision says application of income. It is not an expenditure of income. It is application of income. You have to apply that amount, which application can be by way of revenue as well as capital, or it can be by way of a donation to anybody also, because giving donation to another person is also an application of income. There are certain provisions which have been brought in the statute book over the years. I will touch upon that, friends. Now, corpus donation, I have explained you in so far as receipt side is concerned. In so far as application side is concerned, friends, in case you are applying your income and you want to give that money to another trust which is doing, say, certain charitable activities, you should keep in mind, first of all, that whatever money you are giving to another trust or NGO, NPO company, your object clause must provide for giving such money. And if the object clause does not provide for doing such activity of giving money to another entity, then you should not give at all. If you will be giving this money to another trust, then it will be a clear-cut violation of the object clause of the trust deed itself, and you will be liable for repercussions under the Income Tax Act, which are very onerous and huge. Now, assuming that you are eligible to give donation to another trust, you can give that donation. Here again, you have to see, when you are giving donation to other trust and which you are trying to consider as application of your income, then you cannot give to another trust by way of a corpus donation. If you give that money to another trust by way of a corpus donation, that is, you are giving an instruction to the trust that this amount should be treated as corpus, then it will not be eligible to be considered as your application of income. The logic is that since you are giving this by way of a corpus, that amount is no longer required to be spent by the receiving trust. It will directly take its balance sheet. Therefore, this amendment was brought in the statute book recently, friends. So that one point you should keep in mind, no corpus donation. And another point which has to be kept in mind is that the donation to another trust out of your income of a particular year can be given only in the year in which you derive such income, in which you receive such income. What does it mean, friends? I will explain. Suppose you have received income of rupees 10 lakhs in the year ended 31st March 2023. And instead of spending the amount yourself, instead of applying the income yourself, you give this amount by way of donation to another trust. You can do it. There is no issue. The only bar is no corpus. You can give the entire amount of 10 lakhs to another trust and it will be considered as application of your income. However, friends, suppose you do not spend out of 10 lakhs, you spend only 4 lakhs. And therefore, as you are required to spend 85%, that is, you are short by 4,50,000, because 8,50,000 will have to be spent. Therefore, you can do it. You have to file one form number 10 online, where you have to say that I could not spend this amount of 85% during the year, but I want to utilize this amount to be spent in next 5 years, and I am accumulating this amount for a particular purpose, where you have to specify that this is the purpose for which I am accumulating this amount. And you have to file Form 10, details of which are required to be given in your income tax return, as well as the forms which are required to be filed in relation to the audit, friends. So now suppose you have accumulated 4,50,000 in this case to be spent subsequently. Now in next year, friends, you want to spend this 4,50,000. Here, friends, you cannot give this amount by way of donation to another trust. That you should keep in mind. If you give this accumulated amount by way of donation to another trust, it will be violation of the provisions, and this amount will not be treated as application of your income in subsequent year. That point you should always keep in mind. Subsequently, you cannot treat this, give this amount to another trust. However, friends, here I want to point out one thing. those of whom you are aware, there is a mechanism for filing form number 9A also. Form number 9A is to be filed, friends, when you are not able to spend the money because you did not have the money. Say you have got a fixed deposit with bank, and the fixed deposit interest you have you will be receiving on maturity. Therefore, as on the date of balance sheet, even though you may have made provision for interest, but that money is not there with you. So how would you spend that money? In such a situation, that amount can only be spent upon receiving that money, friends. So the law provides here also that you can file a form number 9A on account of this, that you do not have the money to spend. And therefore, in subsequent year, when you receive this amount, that amount can be spent in subsequent years, and it will be treated as application of income in the year in which this amount was accrued. That is the provision as far as 9A is concerned. So in so far as 9A is concerned, friends, when you are filing form 9A and not 10, in the year in which you receive this income, in that year, you can utilize this money for the purpose of giving donation to another trust. Insofar as this amount is concerned, there is no bar. That is the difference I want to highlight, friends. Insofar as giving donation to another trust is concerned, which has to be very, very carefully looked into. Whenever you are preparing your balance sheet, whenever you are either preparing your form number 10B or 10BB, etc., all these are all major points which has to be kept in mind. And once you get hold of these things, it will be fairly easy for you to prepare the forms which are required to be filed, and the responsibility can be easily discharged, friends. Now, friends, another thing which another amendment which has been made is that in case you are giving donation to another trust, then it is only 85% of this amount. 85% of the amount which you give will be treated as your application and not the 100%. This is another amendment which was made in the last Finance Act, friends, in order to take care of certain trusts who were rotating money by way of donation to other trusts and utilize and were able to accumulate 15% at each stage. And by rotating money through 5-6 trusts, they were in a position to accumulate 15% at each stage. Thereby, the purpose of entire purpose of charitable trust and its income being applied for charitable purposes was lost, friends. So the law has now been amended, and now it is that you can only treat 85% of the amount which you donate as application. I will explain this by way of an example. In the earlier example of 10 lakhs, suppose 85% you have to spend, and before this amendment came, if you would have given 8,50,000 to another trust, then it was adequate compliance of the provisions, and 15% you were able to accumulate. However, friends, now if you give 8,50,000, then only 85% of 8,50,000 will be treated as your application, and you will be sought to the extent of 15% of 8,50,000, which you have to apply again. If you do not do this, then it will be a violation. That is the point which you should keep in mind, friends, which is an important amendment which has been made. Another point, friends, insofar as charitable entities are concerned, that application of income is to be considered only on cash basis. You cannot treat any amount as application of income by making provision for expenses. You have made some provision for salary. You have made provision for capital expenditure. You have made provision for purchasing something. Even if you have made any such provision, but for the purpose of computation of your income as per section 11, it will be only cash application of income which will be treated as actual application. And if there is any shortfall, then friends, you have to take benefit of this form number 9A or form number 10 as the case may be. This is an important point which you have to take into account. Then friends, another important point is that TDS provisions are also applicable. And 40A3 is cash amount of expenditure above 10,000 you cannot do in cash. If you have applied any amount, then 40A3 you must keep in mind, it cannot be made in cash. If you have incurred any expenditure of more than 10,000 in cash, then it will not be treated as application of your income, friends. That is another important aspect to be kept in mind. Now, another important aspect in relation to capital, this charitable trust is related to capital gains, friends. The capital gains in relation to charitable entities is specifically covered in section 11 subsection 3A of the Income Tax Act. 11.3A deals with the capital gains of a charitable entity. And if you have, say, capital asset in a trust and that capital asset has been sold, say you had a capital asset of 1 crore. You have sold that capital asset and have received profit on sale of such capital gain. Then the provisions related to capital gains which are contained in section 45 are not applicable here, friends. Section 11.3A says that if you have any capital gain and if you have utilize that amount for the purpose of buying another capital asset, then the income is exempt. Then that capital gain is exempt. That need not be applied. 85% of that amount need not be applied, friends. And here there is a circular of CBDT, which is a fairly old circular of 76, I think 1976, where CBDT said that if you invest the amount in a fixed deposit with bank for a period exceeding more than 6 months, then that is also eligible to be treated as capital asset for the purpose of being considered as exempt under section 11.3A. And here, friends, I want to point out that there is a Calcutta High Court decision, I don't remember the citation, where Calcutta High Court held that if investment in fixed deposit with a bank is considered as capital asset, then the period of 6 months which has been prescribed by Central Board of Direct Taxes cannot be taken to be true, correct. Even if you put the amount in fixed deposit for any period whatsoever, then also it is to be treated as capital asset exempt under section 11.3A. There is a decision of Calcutta High Court in this regard, friends. And in relation to capital asset, friends, I want to point out another thing which a lot of people keep on questioning to all of us, friends, that whether section 50C provisions are applicable in relation to a transaction of sale by a charitable trust. friends, in my view, I am very clear that computation provisions which are there in section 14 onwards in the Income Tax Act, they are not applicable to a charitable trust. Therefore, section 50C does not apply to a charitable trust. You can transfer the assets of a charitable trust at a price which may be below the circle rate, friends. I'm not saying you that you can do it, but the provisions of section 50C will not apply. That the law is very clear. Though, when you are transferring the assets of a charitable trust for a price which is below the market price, in that case, friends, I would say that as a trustee of the trust, you may be saddled with a vicarious liability. That why did you transfer the assets of the trust at a price which was lower than the market price of the property? But as far as 50C is concerned, that is not applicable. Neither section 56 to 10, friends. Section 56 to 10 of the Income Tax Act also, when a charitable trust purchases any property, then also, even if it is below the circle rate, then also section 56 to 10 will not apply. Either sale or purchase, 56 to 10 will not apply in relation to the computation of charitable trust. But if you are selling to another person, that trust property is being sold to a person who is not charitable, in that case, the provisions of computation which are there in section 56 or section 50C, etc., they will continue to apply to that gentleman, but not to the charitable trust, friends. This is another provision of the in relation to charitable trust, friends. So these are in broadly the manner of application and the income of a trust and application of such income, which is to be which is governed by the provisions as contained in section 11 of the Income Tax Act. Here, friends, there is one more important aspect which is to be seen is regarding anonymous donation. You see, anonymous donation is where you do not know the name of the donor. Where anonymous donation is generally we are seeing in case of, say, religious institutions. A temple has kept a donation box, and donation box is anybody can come and donate. नितेश जी अभी बोल रहे थे 2000 का नोट जो है वो बंद हो जाएगा. अब मान लीजिए कि 7 तारीख के बाद कोई चैरिटेबल रिलीजियस मंदिर में जाके 2000 की गड्डी डाल के हुंडी बॉक्स में चला जाता है. यू कैनॉट डू एनीथिंग. यू हैव नो कंट्रोल ओवर कौन डाल रहा है, क्या डाल रहा है. हाँ, कुछ भी आप तो कुछ बोल नहीं सकते उसको. सो फ्रेंड्स, this is anonymous donation. In so far as anonymous donation is concerned, section 115 BC of the Income Tax Act deals with such anonymous donation. And in case of a religious trust or institution, anonymous donation is allowed. However, in case of, say, educational or medical institutions, etc., if you are having any anonymous donation, then it is liable to be treated as your income under section 115 BBC of the Income Tax Act beyond a particular limit, friends. This is anonymous donation. Now, friends, whatever I have told regarding the 11, 12 and 11 particularly, these benefits of these provisions you can take only if you are registered with the Income Tax Department already, or before you start this trust or institution, you plan to take registration by filing the requisite form, which is now online. The mechanism is that when you file the form, friends, you are granted provisional registration initially. Provisional registration is granted within 1 month of the application which is made. Once you have made the application, the provisional registration is granted to you, and that provisional registration is valid for 3 years. However, if during these 3 years you start doing your activities, then you have to make an application for regular registration within 6 months of starting such activity. Otherwise, if you say get the provisional registration and you do not do anything, in that case, you have to make a application 6 months before the registration is going to expire. And then suppose if you are already having any provisional registration, you can apply for regular registration. Regular registration is valid for a period of 5 years. Every 5 years, you will have to make an application for renewal of the registration. This is the mechanism which is applicable for the registration as well as approval under section 80G of the Income Tax Act. For 80G also similar mechanism is provided. Though approval under 80G cannot be granted to all the charitable or religious entities. It is only the charitable entities, excluding the religious entities, are not eligible for getting the 80G approval, friends. The law is very clear. So this is as far as section 11 registration and 80G is concerned. Now, friends, let me briefly touch upon two important decisions of Supreme Court, which were pronounced last year in the month of October, friends, where Honorable Supreme Court of India, in the case of New Noble Education Society and Ahmedabad Urban Development Authority, dealt with two important aspects in relation to these entities, friends. In the case of New Noble Society, the issue involved was in relation to 1023C. 1023C, as all of you know, that there are certain categories of educational and medical institutions who are eligible to get approval under section 1023C, provided they have made application and got that approval. And there are certain categories of educational and medical institutions whose receipts is more than up to rupees 5 crore. Then also they are eligible to get the then also their income is exempt. They need not apply for any approval. The only criteria is that their income, that their gross receipts must be up to rupees 5 crore, medical as well as charitable. So therefore, any school, if you are having any school whose receipt is up to 5 crore, no approval required. Your income is exempt under section 1023C, 3AD and 3AE. Friends, here, friends, in the case of New Noble Society, last year, October, friends, Supreme Court said that when you are enjoying 1023C subsection 4 or 5, then your object clause must not contain any other object other than the object which you are doing or which you are enjoying the approval. That is, if you are an educational institution, your object clause must not contain any other object other than the object of education. Or if you are doing any medical activity, then your object clause must not contain any other object other than medical. The Supreme Court has clearly said this, because generally when we are forming these entities, friends, we chartered accountants, advocates, we only advise that you should keep your object clause very, very wide and broad so that you can do any activity. But friends, in relation to those entities who are enjoying section 1023C 4 or 5, please revisit your document of constitution, document by which you are constituted, and if it contains any other object, then please modify such deed immediately. even though you are delayed, and in exclude all other objects. And once you modify this deed, friends, then you will have to necessarily apply for renewal of your registration, because the law has been amended and it is now clearly specified that now if you modify your deed in any manner, then you have to again go to the register for the renewal of the registration. This is one important aspect in relation to 1023C units, which was decided by Supreme Court. And luckily, friends, Supreme Court clearly said in that decision that this will not be applicable retrospectively. So therefore, department cannot revisit these issues for the earlier years. It will apply only for the these things prospectively. And in the current assessment year, all such institution can expect that department will try to look into all these aspects, friends. So before it is late, you must do it. Secondly, another important judgment of Supreme Court was in the case of Ahmedabad Urban Development Authority, friends, where Supreme Court was considering the meaning of the word charitable purpose, which is contained in section 2, subsection 15 of the Income Tax Act. Section 11, which I have dealt with, friends, deals with income of a charitable or religious institution. So, charitable institution have to see whether their activities are considered as charitable purpose within the meaning of section 215 or not. Section 215, you cannot do any activity which does not fall into section 215. Section 215, friends, says charitable purpose means, I'm just opening the provision itself, friends. The book is there with me readily. The friends, section 215 says charitable purpose includes relief of the poor, education, yoga, medical relief, preservation of environment. These are specifically covered as charitable purpose. What is that? I am again repeating because it is very important. Relief of poor, education, medical relief, yoga and environment, and advancement of any other object of general public utility. These are charitable purpose. So therefore, friends, if you are into all these activities, you are charitable. However, why I repeated the first 4 words twice, friends? I repeated, friends, because there is an important proviso in section 215, which proviso deals with the trade, commerce or business being done by a charitable trust, or services in relation to trade, commerce or business being done by such trust. In such case, it will not be a charitable purpose in certain situations. However, this proviso is not applicable if you are doing any activity of the nature which is first 4 items which I told you. That is, I am again repeating, medical relief, yoga, education, medical. In relation to these activities, this proviso is not applicable. Therefore, even if you are said to be engaged in business, say a charitable hospital, or say the name immediately which comes to my mind, say in Bombay, Beach Kennedy Hospital, or in Calcutta, Bellevue Hospital. These are all, though now there are listed entities also, Apollo Hospital is there, Fortis is there. These are listed entities. They are into business, but there are some hospitals who are perceived to be say 5-star or 7-star hospitals like Beach Kennedy in Bombay, but they are enjoying charitable exemption provisions. So therefore, friends, section 215 is not covering these type of medical the activities which is being done in relation to medical and education. It is only when you are engaged in doing advancement of any other object of general public utility that you are required to see whether you are hit by the proviso. That is, whether you are doing any trade, commerce or business, or whether you are doing any service in relation to trade, commerce or business, you first of all, you cannot do it unless such trade, commerce or business or the activity in relation to trade, commerce or business is undertaken in the course of actual carrying out of advancement of the object of general public utility. And then there are certain limits which are prescribed, friends. This is insofar as the charitable purpose, and the Supreme Court in the case of Ahmedabad Urban Development Authority, friends, dealt with this aspect of advancement of any other object of general public utility and clearly said that in what situation you will be said to have been engaged in business. Supreme Court gave examples of certain live examples that if you are selling an item which is way beyond your cost of such item, then you are in business as per the decision of Supreme Court. So therefore, friends, this charitable purpose, the proviso, this is going to be scrutinized very, very minutely. And when you are discharging your responsibility of filing form number 10B and 10BB, where the 10B form is a 18-page form, 10BB form is a 6-page form, and the information being asked for is revolving around what I have told you, friends. So therefore, when you are filing this form, you should make a holistic assessment of the entire disclosure, entire form which you have filled in, that whether you are fitting in within the provisions of the act or not. And any wrong disclosure, any disclosure which is not tallying with your similar disclosure at another place, then you will invite the intimation by adjustments from the department, friends. That is all I think. That is, friends, as I told you, I have to go out at 12:45. So I'm now leaving my deliberations, and I will now take up questions for next 15 minutes with the permission of chairman and other authorities, friends. Thank you, friends.
Mudit ji, unmute yourself and ask question. Mudit Agrawal, please. You are raising hands. Mudit Agrawal, please unmute yourself and ask your question. You have raised your hand.
Hello, am I audible now?
Yeah.
Yes, sir, you are audible. Yes, sir.
Yeah. सर मेरी क्वेरी ये है, अगर कोई एक स्कूल अपने स्टूडेंट को, बच्चों को, विद्यार्थियों को कोचिंग प्रोवाइड करता है आईआईटी के लिए या मेडिकल के लिए अपने कैंपस में, तो क्या वो एडवांसमेंट में आएगा या चैरिटेबल पर्पस में ही आएगा?
अगर स्कूल अपने बच्चों को, स्कूल है 12th ग्रेड और वो अपने यहाँ के बच्चों को आईआईटी और मेडिकल कोचिंग प्रोवाइड करता है, वो खुद नहीं करता बल्कि उसने कॉन्ट्रैक्ट दे दिया कि थर्ड पर्सन को कि आप हमारे स्कूल में आइए और आईआईटी और मेडिकल की कोचिंग दीजिए. I think in this money it will be I will answer in this manner that if the school is affiliated to AICTE or the University Grants Commission or any board of higher secondary education or secondary education, and if such board or UGC permits you to do this activity in your campus for all the students, then it will be considered as education. Otherwise, it will be advancement of any other object of general public utility in my opinion.
एडवांसमेंट में हम कितने रुपए अगले हैं, मतलब
एडवांसमेंट, अगर आप एडवांसमेंट में जाते हैं तो देन गोइंग बाय द डिसीजन ऑफ सुप्रीम कोर्ट इन अहमदाबाद अर्बन डेवलपमेंट अथॉरिटी, इफ यू आर चार्जिंग माने रीजनेबल अमाउंट, देन इट इज ओके. अदरवाइज इट विल बी कंसीडर्ड टू बी अ बिजनेस एंड इट माने यू विल बी हिट बाय द provisions of income tax act which are dealing with this.
Again,
you should not charge a hefty amount. You should not be seen to be doing business in the guise of providing such education, IIT coaching, etc.
Okay.
नारायण जी टिबड़ेवाल, आपका क्वेश्चन क्या है? नारायण जी, प्लीज अनम्यूट योरसेल्फ एंड आस्क क्वेश्चन. नारायण जी टिबड़ेवाल.
हेलो.
हाँ नारायण जी.
गुड सर.
क्या गुड आफ्टरनून
सर. एक एक्टिविटी है 2022 मार्च तक ITR 5 करती आई है, ट्रस्ट ये मतलब और अभी वो प्रोविजनल रजिस्ट्रेशन ले रखी है, फिर अभी वो चाह रहे हैं कि हम ITR 5 ही फाइल करें और प्रोविजनल रजिस्ट्रेशन को वेव आउट कर दें, तो इसमें क्या दिक्कत आएगी?
ITR 5 तो जो रजिस्टर्ड माने एज आई टोल्ड कि ITR 7 इज द करेक्ट फॉर्म.
हाँ,
ITR 5 is not the form.
Right.
So अगर आप ITR 5 तो फाइल कर ही नहीं सकते हैं if you are registered under माने if you have applied for provisional registration. You
अच्छा.
have to file ITR 7 only in my opinion.
अच्छा, नहीं लास्ट 2022 तक भी ITR 5 ही फाइल हुआ है विद टैक्स पेमेंट AOP बेसिस पे.
हाँ, तो AOP बेसिस पे अगर टैक्स पेमेंट हुआ है,
हाँ,
तो देन सिंस यू हैव टेकन प्रोविजनल रजिस्ट्रेशन,
हाँ.
तो पुराना जो आपने किया वो तो you cannot be guided by what you have done earlier, because the situation has now changed as you have applied for provisional registration.
Right.
Therefore, whatever provisions are applicable to a trust which is registered under section 11 has to be applied to you, notwithstanding whatever you have done in past.
So just you told me that before 6 months we have to report some department.
If you have been given the provisional registration, as you are already doing activities, it seems,
Yeah.
then immediately, in my opinion, you should apply for regular registration also.
Ramotari Joshi, please ask your question. Ramotari Joshi.
पटौदिया जी, आपने कहा कि अपने अगर कोई कैपिटल एसेट्स का बिक्री करते हैं तो वी कैन क्रिएट ए फिक्स्ड डिपॉजिट, तो वो आपने कैपिटल गेन एग्जम्प्ट हो जाता है.
हाँ,
लेकिन अगर फिक्स्ड डिपॉजिट जब लिक्विडेट होगी तब दैट विल बिकम इनकम और नॉट?
नहीं, फिक्स डिपॉजिट जब लिक्विडेट होगी तो जो उसका खाली इंटरेस्ट होगा दैट विल बी द इनकम एंड नॉट द एंटायर अमाउंट.
Only
Only the interest on such fixed deposit will be considered as your income.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
NK Sharma ji, unmute yourself. NK Sharma ji, unmute yourself and ask question.
हेलो सर,
हाँ.
क्वेश्चन ये था कि एक स्कूल है, उन्होंने पार्टनरशिप के अंदर में ही प्रॉपर रन कर रहे थे इतने दिन, नॉर्मल पार्टनरशिप प्रोविजंस के अलावा. अब उन्होंने सेक्शन 8 कंपनी बनाई है और पार्टनरशिप के जो एसेट्स है उसमें ट्रांसफर करना चाहते हैं सेक्शन 8 में, और सेक्शन 8 में उन्होंने 80G और 12A दोनों ले रखा है, स्कूल है प्रॉपर. तो सर कर सकते हैं सर इसमें एज ए डोनेशन बोल के आएगा, क्या बोल के आएगा पार्टनरशिप से? सेक्शन 8 में कोई प्रॉब्लम तो नहीं होगी?
इट इज अ कन्वर्सन ऑफ माने अगर
नहीं,
आपने सेक्शन 8 कंपनी जो बनाया है उसमें अगर ये जो स्कूल ऑलरेडी चल रहा है, इफ यू हैव गिवन इट एज वन ऑफ द ऑब्जेक्ट टू टेक ओवर सच स्कूल, दैट इज वन थिंग. अदरवाइज द पार्टनरशिप बिजनेस कैन डोनेट दिस एंटायर स्कूल टू द न्यूली फॉर्म सेक्शन 8 कंपनी. देयर इज नो इश्यू इन दैट.
और सर फिर इसके अंदर में इन्होंने 80G 12A दोनों ले रखा है. अब जो आपने जैसे बताया 1023 ये भी ले सकते हैं क्या फिर?
नहीं, आप अभी सेक्शन 11 या 1023 यू हैव टू elect which one you want to take. You cannot have both.
तो सर इसमें फिर सर कौन सा बेनिफिशियल होगा?
I think it is section 11 is advisable because 1023 में restriction जो सुप्रीम कोर्ट का आ गया कि you cannot do any other activity other than education. So therefore it is in my opinion advisable to keep section 11 only and surrender 1023.
ओके सर, मैं लास्ट क्वेश्चन, डायरेक्टर सर सेक्शन 8 कंपनी को लोन देकर और वो जो सेक्शन 8 कंपनी लैंड खरीदना चाहती है स्कूल बनाने के लिए, वो दे सकते हैं क्या सर?
Yes, directors can give loan to the section 8 company. There is no bar except you have to see the provisions of Companies Act, but Income Tax Act there is no bar. The directors can give loan and the loan can be utilized for the purpose of construction of school. There is no issue in that.
Okay, sir.
Mr. Raj Rao. Mr. Raj Rao, are you there?
Sir. Yes, sir. I'm audible.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon. मेरा एक क्वेश्चन है कि हमारा एक ट्रस्ट है जिसने रजिस्ट्रेशन के लिए अप्लाई किया था और रजिस्ट्रेशन प्रोविजनल बेसिस पे अप्लाई हुआ फॉर 3 ईयर बेसिस. फिर हमने प्रोविजनल को फाइनल कन्वर्ट करने के लिए फॉर्म 10A भी फाइल किया और डिपार्टमेंट ने उसको रिजेक्ट कर दिया. उन्होंने कहा कि इट इज प्री मैच्योर और आपका एप्लीकेशन जो है वो विड्रॉ कर लीजिए. हम लोगों ने कोरेस्पोंडिंगली विड्रॉ कर लिया. अब जब 10BB फाइल कर रहे हैं उसमें एक जो कॉलम है जहाँ पे लिखा हुआ है कि वेदर एसएससी हैज ग्रांटेड प्रोविजनल रजिस्ट्रेशन, तो उसमें यस करना है या नो करना है सर?
Because you are now only having provisional registration, So therefore you have to say yes only.
सर जैसे उसमें यूज करेंगे तो फिर वहाँ पे डिटेल और मांगेगा कि एसएससी ने प्रोविजनल से फाइनल में कन्वर्ट करने के लिए एप्लीकेशन डाला, डेट ऑफ कमेंसमेंट ऑफ एक्टिविटी कब है, क्योंकि हम लोगों ने पहले डाला था जिसमें डिपार्टमेंट ने रिजेक्ट कर दिया।
नहीं, whether you have commenced your activity.
तो एक्टिविटी तो पहले से ही कमेंसमेंट है 2021 से।
तो therefore जो आपका आपको विड्रॉवल के लिए जो बोला गया था
जी सर,
वो गलत था। You should therefore contest that and you should follow that रेगुलर रजिस्ट्रेशन को आप फॉलो कीजिए उसको, और करके रेगुलर रजिस्ट्रेशन यस सर।
मिस्टर पवन जी अग्रवाल, पवन जी अग्रवाल।
हाँ, गुड आफ्टरनून सर। सर मेरा एक क्वेश्चन था, एक था कि अपना जो कैश पेमेंट में खर्चा अलाउ है, अगर मैंने बैंक का चेक काटा 29 मार्च को और वह बैंक वाले ने उसको होल्ड करके रखा है एंड 1-2 तारीख को वो उसको चेक को पास करता है, तो क्या मैं उसको एप्लीकेशन में ले सकता हूँ?
अगर आपका बैंक का चेक, आपने बैंक का चेक जिस दिन काटा उस दिन बैंक में उतना बैलेंस था अगर,
ओके,
और वो बाद में सब्सिक्वेंटली वो चेक इनकैश हो गया,
हाँ,
then it will be treated as application in my opinion, notwithstanding कि 31 तारीख के अंदर बैंक में चेक नहीं आया।
ओके, तो मैंने इसका मतलब मेरे बैंक में अगर बैलेंस रहता है और अगर मैं चेक देता हूँ, अगर वो मई में भी पास होता है तो एप्लीकेशन माना जाएगा फिर?
यस डेफिनेटली।
थैंक यू वेरी मच सर।
Anup ji, unmute yourself and ask question.
Ram Ram.
राम राम सर, राम राम।
In the event of Section 11 exemption is being withdrawn and your trust is being treated as a GPU trust, so can the for a completed assessment, the CIT will invoke provisions of 263 on the presumption or on the ground your capex is being also being taken as a expenditure. आपका ऑलरेडी सरप्लस तो ऐड कर दिया गया है, बट जब अपने लोग पीएल अकाउंट बनाते हैं तो इन द केस ऑफ ट्रस्ट वी आल्सो टेक एक्सपेंडिचर ऑफ कैपिटल आइटम्स, सो इस प्ली में 263 प्रोविजंस इन्वोक हो सकता है क्या सर?
कैन यू प्लीज रिपीट अनूप जी योर क्वेश्चन अगेन?
सर मेरा क्वेश्चन सिंपल है, सेक्शन 11 का एग्जेम्पशन विड्रॉन हो गया है ट्रस्ट में फॉर वांट कि यू आर रनिंग अ जीपीयू एक्टिविटी, माने पर्टिकुलर ईयर में, एक पर्टिकुलर ईयर में यू हैव एक्सीडेड 20% ऑफ द लिमिट, तो आपका जीपीयू एक्टिविटी ट्रीट हुआ है और आपका सेक्शन 11 का एग्जेम्पशन विड्रॉन हो गया है, तो वो उसमें क्या 263 प्रोविजंस इन्वोक हो सकता है क्या? ये मेरा क्वेश्चन।
सेक्शन 11 विड्रॉ अगर हो गया है,
हाँ, सेक्शन 11 तो सर ईयर वाइज होता है ना, एक साल में विड्रॉ हुआ है, अगले साल में नहीं भी हुआ ना, एक माने इट इज ईयर वाइज, सो इन अ पर्टिकुलर ईयर सेक्शन 11 एग्जेम्पशन इज बीइंग विथड्रॉन बाय द कंसर्न्ड एओ।
हाँ,
तो उसमें कंसर्न्ड एओ ने जब असेसमेंट किया तो उसने कैपिटल आइटम्स को अलाउ कर दिया, कैपेक्स को अलाउ कर दिया। कैपेक्स तो अलाउ होगा नहीं पीएल अकाउंट में, डेबिट में, तो बाद में उसी
if section 11 has been withdrawn, then I think in my opinion the consequences of such withdrawal will automatically follow. Whatever are the consequences, then if you do not have any section 11, then the exemption regarding application of capital expenditure also will not be there in my opinion, and I think in such situation 263 would be justified if it has not been done.
और सब्सिक्वेंट जो अनकम्प्लीटेड असेसमेंट्स है उसमें 148 भी हो सकता है, इसका मतलब आपके हिसाब से?
हाँ, if for those years also, yes, definitely.
148 provisions can also be invoked.
Yes, yes.
263 and 148 are equally applicable for charitable trust also.
Yes, yes. The department can take money whatever within time, whatever time they can initiate the proceedings under either of these two sections.
ठीक ठीक, okay, okay. Thank you भैया, thank you. This was the question.
दीनदयाल जी, दीनदयाल जी, दीनदयाल Danaria, any question? Mr. Dhruv Sen Saha. Mr. Dhruv Sen Saha.
Yes, good afternoon, sir.
Yeah.
Good afternoon.
सर ऐसा है कि अभी एटीजी रिन्यूअल नहीं हो रहे हैं, जिनका 1/4/2021 के बाद प्रोविजनल लिया हुआ है एटीजी में। अब उनकी दो चीजें हैं, या एक्टिविटी हो गई हो या एक्सपायरी 6 मंथ पहले हुई हो, तो उसको 30/9 से पहले रिन्यू करना था। अब आईटी के पोर्टल पे रिन्यूअल का एटीजी का अगर हम सर्कुलर 6 की कंटेंट देखें तो एटीजी का रिन्यूअल हो ही नहीं रहा है। देन व्हाट विल बी दिस circumstances and situations in the future?
No, if you have applied for the renewal and if they have not given you the renewal, then you are not at fault. Whenever they will give you, they will have to give you from the date on which you have applied. There
सर
is no
प्रोविजन ही नहीं है, आईटीबीए के पोर्टल पे रिन्यूअल का सेक्शन ही नहीं है।
अगर
आप 30 सितंबर की
आईटीबीए के पोर्टल पे नहीं है, then I think I as an advocate I will advise that you approach the writ court under Article 226 of Constitution of India.
Yes,
I am very Sanjay
we are
Da
going
is,
for Article 14 and 226.
Let us listen to Sanjay Da, who is raising finger. Sanjay Da, you have anything to say?
I
Yes,
just
yes.
I just want to bring to your kind attention
Ji,
that
sir.
the concerned CBDT circular number 6 of 2023, I think dated 24, that
Yes.
has not allowed any time in respect of ATG. It was only for section 12A registration.
That
So
is my contention.
by filing 10AB, you cannot have any relief. So the only option that you have got is to approach the commissioner with a petition for condonation of delay.
Okay. So उसमें कंडोनेशन ऑफ डिले इसलिए नहीं हो सकता है सर, क्योंकि आपकी एक्टिविटी 6 मंथ में कमेंस हो चुकी, तो आपको बसे फॉर एग्जांपल 1/4/21 को प्रोविजनल दिया आपने, मैंने 2/4 को एक्टिविटी शुरू कर दी, इसका मतलब मुझे 30 सितंबर 2021 पे ये रिन्यू करना था। अब सर्कुलर 6 टॉक्स अबाउट द एक्सटेंशन।
No. Since it was within 6 months, yes, correct. From the date of activity within 6 months, that you had not done, isn't it?
Yes.
So you have to apply a petition for condonation of delay, which power the commissioner has got. You cannot take help of 10AB because that CBDT circular has not allowed this relaxation for ATG matters.
It is the same contention that I have gone through the 119 for the extension or the delay condonation. They have passed an order saying that we have no power to extend or condone the delay because it's a statutory provision. So 6 months, it's a mandatory, that is not discretionary with the CIT. So this order has already been rejected in my case. So the issue is कि अब ना डिले कंडोन हो रहा है, ना ऑनलाइन पोर्टल पे रिन्यू हो रहा है, तो लॉन्गर इम्पैक्ट है सर मेरे हिसाब से।
So according to me, what you have to do, because you have been given the provisional approval up to for 22, 23, 23, 24, 24, 25, in respect of 25, 26, apply for a fresh approval in 10A.
Okay. Okay.
Still, I would say that you file a letter, again a letter for condonation delay. If you have got already received the rejection thing, then don't go, but file a fresh approval application before 6 months of the commencement of that financial year 24-25.
Friends, our speaker Ramesh Patodia has to leave. So the question answer session will be continued with Sanjay Da. So with these words, we will wholeheartedly thank Advocate Ramesh Kumar Patodia, who has given his valuable time to enrich our knowledge and reply our queries. Many thanks to you, sir.
Thank you, friends. Thank you all for inviting me.
We honor your time. So we wholeheartedly give you a release from this session, though in advance. And now Sanjay will continue the question answer of the audience.
Only,
So
I have
anybody,
got only 15 minutes time, please.
yes,
Yes, yes. After 15 minutes, we have another speaker who is coming.
Mr. Shyam, do you have any question further? Mr. Shyam, do you have any question?
Yeah.
Yes,
Good
tell.
afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Actually, one of the medical institute has spent more than 85% in last 2 years. This year, there is a shortfall of around 10% in the 85% amount. So can that carry forward extra can be adjusted in the current year?
The first question is that medical institute, is it registered under 12A or approved under 1023C?
1023C, sir.
If it is under section 1023C,
Yeah.
it must be under under sections, medical insurance, under section 1023C clause, subclause 6A, it must be
6A.
6A. And if you have fallen, you have to file for which year you are talking about?
22-23 financial year.
So that last date for filing of form number 10 has already gone on 31st
No, this
of
has been
August.
extended, I think. This has
No,
been
there is
extended by a circular.
Actually, we are considering that since in the CBDT circular, they have
Yeah.
mentioned that if somebody even file form number 9A or 10 before the due date of filing of return, the deduction will not be disallowed. So you take a chance, but you must file that form number 10, otherwise there is no chance of getting any relief.
The earlier excess would not be adjusted, sir.
No. Earlier, any excess expenditure cannot be brought forward to this year. The law has changed about 2 years ago that excess expenditure in any year cannot be carried forward.
Okay.
Vikram,
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Vikram
Sir.
Agrawal.
गुड आफ्टरनून सर.
Good afternoon.
सर मेरा 2 क्वेश्चन है. अभी जैसे ट्रस्ट में जो कैश एक्सपेंडिचर को अलाउ किए हैं, तो कोई अगर स्कूल को एडवांस फीस लेते हैं स्टूडेंट से, तो उसको भी क्या कैश बेसिस फॉलो करना पड़ेगा कि उसको नेक्स्ट टाइम इनकम ट्रीट करना पड़ेगा सर?
See, what has come in the act is that the applications will be allowed on cash basis.
Okay.
There is no question how to treat the income. The income will have to be considered on the basis of the accounting method that organization has been following from long ago.
Okay.
It is only like our section 43B provision, only in respect of applications, it has to be cash expenditure. Now, if that organization has been following whether cash system or mercantile system, if something has been received in advance, that's a liability. So in the balance sheet, it must be shown as a liability. So there is no question of considering that as the income of that year.
Okay, sir. एंड सर सेकंड क्वेश्चन इज कि जो अभी जो 10B में जो फॉर्म आ रहा है, जो एप्लीकेशन ऑफ इनकम जो भरना पड़ता है, तो उसके अंदर जैसे अभी पहले तो क्या होता था लास्ट ईयर, जैसे रेंट, इलेक्ट्रिसिटी और सैलरी का ऑप्शन आता था. अभी उसमें आ रहा रिलीफ टू पुअर, एजुकेशन, मेडिकल रिलीफ एंड एक आ रहा अदर जनरल पब्लिक यूटिलिटी. तो उसमें क्या एक कॉन्सोलिडेटेड फिगर डालने से कोई इशू तो नहीं आएगा ना सर?
No, the question is that first of all, it has to be seen whether this organization is carrying out any specific out of those 6 specified limbs or only advancement of other general public utility. Now, when you go to in 10B, I remember that section, that clause, it is 31, but in 10BB, what number it is that I don't know. There you have to
talking about the 10B, sir. 10B.
Figure. Aggregate figure of application that will include every revenue expenditure.
And उसके ठीक नीचे में सब एक सी ऑप्शन है, उसमें दिखा रहा है कि सोर्स ऑफ इनकम. तो सोर्स ऑफ इनकम में जितना इनकम आया सर वो दिखाएंगे, जितना एक्सटेंड खर्चा किया उतना दिखाएंगे इनकम में सर?
नहीं, आपको बोलना है. That had been already there in our earlier ITR 7 return form. If there be, say, 200 rupees income, and my application this year is 230, that means I have utilized this year's income of 200 only. And the 30 must have come from the accumulations made in earlier years. So it has to be written in that way. But if it is that 200 rupees at the income and applications are 180, naturally you will show that 180 has come from the income of the previous year.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Ashish Agrawal, Ashish Agrawal.
हाँ, गुड आफ्टरनून सर।
Good afternoon.
सर मेरा क्वेश्चन है कि मुझे हम एक एजुकेशनल इंस्टीट्यूशन रन करते हैं, उसमें मुझे म्यूचुअल फंड से लॉन्ग टर्म कैपिटल गेन एंड शॉर्ट टर्म कैपिटल गेन हुआ है. So whether that long term capital gain or short term capital gain can be utilized for paying the salary of the office staff and teachers?
At the very outset, I must say that what Mr. Ramesh was talking about, though he made a wrong reference of that section 11.3a, actually it should have been 11.1a, where the capital asset or any capital gain arising out, any transactions have to be mentioned. But what I follow, I can only suggest that whatever incomes are coming, all are to be shown at one head and the applications will be done from there. Now, if there be a mutual fund of rupees 100 and I have received 105 rupees, naturally, when that mutual fund was made, at that time, that 100 rupees was not claimed as applications. Then only rupees 5 has to be taken here. But if by any chance that 100 rupees had been considered as the application of an earlier year, then here the gross receipt of 105 has to be considered as the income of the year. And so that 85% will be applicable on that money.
So, sir, can we pay 105 rupees or 100 rupees for salary payment?
Anything. If salary payment is towards your staff who are in the organization, so naturally, since all the expenses are to be considered as towards charitable expenses, every item of revenue expenditure can be claimed.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
कर देंगे ना, कितने क्लास से कल करेंगे ना?
सुशील जी डोकानिया.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Am I audible? Sir, am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Sir, in a hospital, there is canteen and tea
I don't
stalls.
follow. Please, there were some sounds coming. I could not hear.
उनको तो बोलना पड़ेगा ना. Hello.
Yes.
Hello.
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 Yes, you can talk.
Sir, in a hospital, there is canteen from where food is provided to the patients as well as patient parties and the visitors who come to hospital. And there are some tea stall or coffee house from where they are selling and getting rent from them. Is it hospital's object purpose or beyond object?
According to me, after considering the Supreme Court decisions given in October 2022, if there be any expenditure which is related to anyone other than the patient, and if there is a selling of any item, those will be outside the charitable activities. And if this hospital is approved under 1023C or registered under 12A,
12A.
then those receipts will be considered as per the first proviso to clause section 2, clause 15. And if that money is more than 20% of the gross receipts, then the hospital's charitable exemption will be lost.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Section 13.8, please hear it. Section 13.8 and section 13.10 will be applicable.
Okay, sir. In disclosure, in Form 10B,
Yes.
what we have to disclose, sir?
There you have to show that other general activity, how much money was received and what is the percentage of that of the total receipts.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
Sir.
Yes.
Sir, good
Thank
evening,
you.
sir. Good
Thank
afternoon.
you. Thank you, Sanjay Da.
Sir,
Since you have to leave, we
hello.
have Akhil Jindal sir. He is here. So let me brief introduce Akhil Jindal sir. So Akhil Jindal ji is BCom Honors FC, ICAEA PhD in ITEX and ISA. He is recipient of Delhi Ratan Award in 2009, recipient of Faculty Award from NIRC in tax practice since 1992. He is a senior partner in Jindal and Company. He was Central Statutory Auditor of Union Bank, and to his accolades, he has spoken and written article at various platforms. Now, till Sanjay Da is comfortable, he will continue. And when Sanjay Da time is approaching, Akhil Ji will take up the session. Yes. Any question?
I am Nitesh and Hariram. I am here for another 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, I will go. Thank you. You can sit and ask me questions.
Till the time we can ask question to Sushil Ji. Your question is over or it is continuing?
Hello.
Sir, my question is over.
Hello.
Okay. Then let us move to Keshav Agrawal. Keshav Agrawal, please unmute and ask your question. Keshav Agrawal. Keshav Agrawal, are you there?
Yeah. Sir, am I audible?
Yeah. Tell me.
Yeah. Good afternoon, sir. Sir, हम एक एजुकेशनल इंस्टीट्यूशन रन कर रहे हैं, तो उसमें जो हम स्टूडेंट्स के लिए बस सर्विस प्रोवाइड कर रहे हैं, वो क्या बिजनेस एक्टिविटी में काउंट होगा या फिर जो नॉर्मल एक्टिविटीज में ही वो कंसीडर होगा?
Firstly, you have to tell under section 12A you are registered or under section 1023C6 you are approved.
12A, sir.
Which one?
12A, sir.
Now the question is that if that bus service is available exclusively, I repeat the word, exclusively for the students, then there is no problem. That will also go there. It will not be considered as any service to business, trade or commerce.
Okay,
Sir,
okay, sir.
If it is
Understood.
also,
Thank you.
if it is also along with the students to the teachers or staff to carry the same
yes.
route, so it's all the same.
Not the students' relatives.
Okay, okay. Students, teachers, and staff of the school can do conveyance from that bus. So in that case, up to that time, yeah, Mr. Sanjay Tayal.
What if the bus is being taken to picnic on Sunday or on vacations?
If that bus is taken for only for students and teachers, no problem.
No, in case where the bus is being used for weekends on picnic or for vacations or for out of Calcutta, what will the situation will change, Sanjay Da?
If it relates, it is exclusively for only the students and teachers and the non-teaching staff of that institution, not anyone else.
Okay, got you, Sanjay Da. Understood. Thank you.
Sir, one more question, sir.
Hello.
बोलिए।
हाँ सर, मेरा क्वेश्चन ये था कि अगर स्कूल यूनिफॉर्म सेल करता है, बुक्स एंड स्टेशनरी सेल करता है, तो ये भी बिजनेस एक्टिविटी में आ जाएगा क्या?
Again, I am telling you, if that sale of uniforms, sale of books, all are only towards the students, then there will not arise any problem. Because it is not a business, trade or commerce, it is only for the students you are doing.
Sanjay Da, in addition to the question which is being discussed, if a school is charging money for from the students for carrying the students to and from school, so will that be affecting anyway?
Yes, there is a condition. I think Ramesh has cleared that thing, but still I am repeating it. That as per the Supreme Court decision in that Ahmedabad urban society, that if the charges are found to be very excessive, that means if the cost is 100, but recovery is 105 or 110, there is no special benchmark on that, then it will not be. But if it is found that there is some more markup there, then that I should not say they may be, according to me, that it will be considered as a survey business. If there is the intention of profit making.
Good. Next, संजय तायल जी, आपका क्वेश्चन हो गया कंप्लीट?
सर हेलो।
हाँ संजय जी तायल।
हाँ नमस्कार जी। सर मेरा क्वेश्चन ये है, एक चैरिटेबल ट्रस्ट स्कूल चलाती है, उस स्कूल के पास जो एसेट है वो बैंक को प्लेज किए के लोन लिया है। अब उन्होंने वो लोन रीपे करने के लिए एसेट को सेल किया और लोन रीपे किया, तो क्या वो कैपिटल गेन्स एग्जम्पशन मिल जाएगा इन्वेस्टमेंट इन रीपेमेंट ऑफ लोन?
बात ये है, अकॉर्डिंग टू मी,
yes,
that whatever money will be received
yes,
by selling the building or whatever it is, firstly it has to be seen that whether at the time of acquiring that building, whatever money had been spent on capital account, whether that had been claimed as application or not. Usually it will be found out that that must have been also claimed as application. Say it was 10 lakh of rupees. Now they have received 15 lakh before repayment of the loan.
yes,
Then in the year of receipt, that 15 lakh, the gross receipt will be considered as the receipt of income for that year. And now the applications that are being paid, it has to be seen that when that loan had been taken and utilized, whether application had been claimed there. In all probability, in that time, because that application had been out of loan, that must not have been claimed.
yes.
Now, when this repayment will be done, if it is within the period of 5 years from the date of utilization, then that will be allowed as application of the year.
Okay, fine, sir.
Hello.
I got.
हेलो।
दीनदयाल जी, आपका कोई क्वेश्चन? दीनदयाल जी, you have any question?
हेलो।
हाँ
This may be
दीनदयाल
the
जी।
last question, please.
हेलो। हाँ
दीनदयाल,
सर।
हाँ
Yes.
बोलिए।
सर
Yes.
सर एक क्वेश्चन था।
हाँ बोलिए केतन जी, केतन भैया बोलिए।
मेरा कैपिटल गेन के ऊपर में 3-4 क्वेश्चंस है, रिलेटेड है। जैसे संजय दा ने कहा कि भाई 5 रुपया ही आपको दिखाना है कैपिटल गेन में, अगर 1 लाख रुपया आपने नहीं दिखाया, एग्जम्प्टेड नहीं था, तो 5 लाख रुपया जो हम इनकम एंड एक्सपेंडिचर में ले रहे हैं, तो उसके बाद में जो रिपोर्ट देंगे 10BB में, वो मतलब 5 रुपये के हिसाब से देंगे कि 105 रुपये के हिसाब से देंगे?
If you had, see, whatever you are showing in the account, that has got no direct connection with your income tax computation. Number one. Number two, if 1 lakh had not been claimed in earlier as application, and now we are getting 1 lakh or 1 lakh 5,000 or 15 lakh, whatever it is, then only the surplus will be considered as the income of the year. Maybe that in the accounts you will show the surplus received on redemption of mutual fund. But for the computation, you will only consider 5 lakh. But if in the earlier year, what I had already told, if in the earlier year, that amount of investment had been claimed as application, then the gross receipt will be income of this year.
लेकिन डिपार्टमेंट तो पूरा का पूरा ही ले रहा है, आप कितना भी कुछ भी करिए।
उसीलिए ले रहा है कि आगे भी इसको क्लेम किया होगा।
नहीं, उनको तो कुछ पता नहीं है, वो तो AIS से लेते हैं, जो भी आपका सेल फिगर आया वो उसको इनकम ट्रीट करके उसके ऊपर में टैक्स लगाते हैं।
नहीं, बात यह है कि in the return it has to be clearly told that this is the surplus, and when it has come in AIS, there should be a response to that by way of that option of feedback that this is not the income. That should have been done. If not done, please do it.
और अगर 5 रुपया अगर जब लेते हैं और वो अगर 2.5 लाख से नीचे रहती है इनकम हमारी एज पर इनकम एंड एक्सपेंडिचर अकाउंट, तो whether that will be taxable, auditable or not auditable?
If the gross receipt of the year, there the surplus we will only take 5. If the gross receipt is less than 2,50,000, statutorily there is no requirement of audit, no requirement of filing of return. But for continuity, if you want to do it, nobody objects to it.
अच्छा, सेकेंडली ट्रस्ट, अगर हम कोई बेनिफिशियरी के अकाउंट में रुपया हम अगर हॉस्पिटल में देते हैं,
क्या पब्लिक ट्रस्ट है?
हाँ नहीं, चैरिटेबल ट्रस्ट में। हाँ,
तो बेनिफिशियरी को बात क्या बोल रहा है?
बेनिफिशियरी इन द सेंस कोई पुअर आदमी हमको अप्रोच किया कि हमारा मेडिकल के लिए आप पैसा दीजिए, और हम
And it
उसको
is
डायरेक्ट
within your objects.
हाँ एंड हाँ और हम उसको डायरेक्टली उसको नहीं दे करके डायरेक्टली हॉस्पिटल को दे रहे हैं, दैट इज ए ट्रस्ट. So whether that will be counted as relief to poor or to trust.
The moment you are going to pay it to another trust, in the current year, it will be limited to 85%, that Ramesh has also told. But it is always better that you pay to that man directly, in this case.
And secondly, ये अगर कोई हमारा ट्रस्ट में है, हमने कोई मटेरियल खरीद लिया फॉर डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन टू द पुअर, मान लीजिए कंबल खरीद लिया और खरीद लिया ऑन द लास्ट डे और उसके पहले खरीद लिया, बट दैट कुड नॉट बी डिस्ट्रीब्यूटेड ड्यूरिंग द पीरियड, whether that will be treated as application or it will be held as an asset.
You have already purchased.
Yeah.
So that means application has already been made.
But that has not been distributed as yet.
That is another thing. For income tax purposes, it is not the question of distribution, it is the application of the money.
No,
so it is an application there.
As soon as
you may show in your accounts as stock item or whatever it is. But for income tax purposes, it will be considered as application. I am giving you an example. Like, so many organizations for holding some conferences. Maybe that conference would be held in the month of April, but they make an advance payment on 29th of March. That advance payment is also application.
And in the case of capital gain, again, suppose the amount was used earlier for capital gain purposes, for application purposes, and that mutual fund has been sold on the 31st of March. But the next investment was made on 1st of April. So
then on 31st March, it has become income. Yeah. Only thing that you can do, it is advisable that you file a form number 9A, so that next year's expenditure will be covered this year.
Okay.
That is the only way.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ketan.
सर एक क्वेश्चन है.
अभी मेरा जो दौड़ना है. अच्छा, एक लास्ट क्वेश्चन करके बंद कीजिए.
सर मैं अरविंद गुप्ता बोल रहा हूँ.
बोलिए.
सर स्कूल 12 में रजिस्टर्ड है, उसकी इनकम अपन 1023 थर्ड एडी में क्लेम कर सकते हैं क्या सर?
प्लीज रिपीट.
सर स्कूल 12 में रजिस्टर्ड है और
क्या वाले रजिस्टर्ड है, हम समझ नहीं आया.
12A रजिस्टर्ड अंडर
12A. ओके,
ठीक है. सेक्शन 11 में क्लेम कर रहे थे, अब इस बार उसको 1023C थर्ड एडी में क्लेम कर सकते हैं क्या इनकम एक्सपेंडिचर?
माने both 12A and 1023C you are talking about?
Yes.
No, it is not allowed. Allowed. No, I'm telling you, in 2020, this change has come. That if you have got a registration under 1023C and you get 12A registered, that approval under 23C will go, and it is also vice versa. Both cannot run together.
ठीक सर, ठीक. Okay sir, thank you.
Okay. Okay, Nitesh and Hariram, thank you very much.
Many thanks for joining surprisingly, and it's really enriching to the August gathering.
Let me tell you, yesterday evening, Sushil Pransukat rang me up, and he was asking me whether I would be available. I told him that I am going to Bangalore today to my daughter's house. But today morning, since I have got some time, that's why I opened it.
Yes,
but I always like the discussion. Thank you very much. I have also enjoyed.
So nice of you. Many thanks, sir, for joining us, for enriching us. Many thanks, sir. Thank you. We have CA Dr. Akhil Jindal, sir, with us. I've just read his brief profile. Now the remaining question will be asked by the audience and will be replied by Akhil Jindal ji. And may I take up one by one? Mr. Dindayal ji, do you have any question pending now?
Yes, sir.
बोलिए Dindayal ji.
Yes, एक minute.
Ji, he has some presentation also. So
okay.
I think,
after 3-4 questions.
Sir,
one
of our religious charitable trust.
Hello. Yes. Yeah. Before taking the queries, just there are two very important clauses. If you give me 5-10 minutes, can I discuss on those two clauses?
Sure, sir. Sure.
Yeah. So there are only two clauses which I bring to the members' attention of the Form 10B, which are the clauses number 41 and 42, which refers to the section 13.3. So it should be to the members, knowledge of the members. The clause number 41 of Form 10B says detail of specified persons as referred in section 3 of section 13. So if we all can realize, how are we going to fill up this detail? You see, all these details specify is person referred to in section 3 of subsection 13, name of such person, and then Aadhaar number, PAN number, and this include all person kind of author, founder, relative of author, founder, manager, and relative definition under section 56 is covers all your lineal, ascendant, descendant, brother, sister, wife, spouse, brother. So are we able to get these details from the management? Just imagine the kind of list we have to have, which will go up to, because having at least 10 members in each trust and societies, will it be feasible, and which will be how as a auditor we will be able to get these details, and how they will get the Aadhaar number and PAN of their relatives, whosoever is even donated 50,000. So this is something which I bring to the forum, that how this section 41, how people are trying to do that and how they are doing that. Any comments from the members on this, Moreji and others people? Section, this is clause 41, subsection 13.3. In my attempt to filling this form and asking from the management, everybody had said, sir, we cannot give, apart from the list of trustee, we cannot give the list of relatives. So what is the disclaimer as an auditor we will have to give in this form? Also, it is becomes very important. This is I wanted to put to the freedom. Apart from that, please.
Sir, may I interrupt?
Yeah.
Yes.
जैसा आपने पिछली बार बताया था कि ड्यूरिंग द लास्ट ईयर में जो है स्पेसिफाइड पर्सन ड्यूरिंग द लास्ट फाइनेंशियल ईयर, मीनिंग देयर बाय फाइनेंशियल ईयर स्टार्टिंग फ्रॉम 1st of April 22 एंडिंग ऑन 31st March 23, उस पीरियड में जो स्पेसिफाइड बंदे हैं जिन्होंने 50,000 से ऊपर का डोनेशन दिया है ट्रस्ट को, हमें उनकी लिस्ट देनी है। ये आई बिलीव आप हम इसी फोरम में शायद आपने ऐसा कुछ इंडिकेट किया था, मतलब इफ आई एम रॉन्ग तो काइंडली करेक्ट।
नहीं, दैट इज करेक्ट। आई एम सेइंग रिलेटिव की भी देनी है, मतलब अपार्ट फ्रॉम द नेम ऑफ दैट पर्सन, जो भी ऑथर, फाउंडर या ट्रस्टी हैं, उनके जो रिलेटिव्स हैं, अगर सेक्शन 13.3 में आप जाएंगे ना, तो उसमें लिखा है उनके रिलेटिव्स की भी डिटेल हमें देनी है। अगर मोरे जी एक ट्रस्ट में ट्रस्टी हैं, तो इनकी स्पाउस की, इनके ब्रदर इन लॉ, इनके फादर की, इनकी डॉटर की, सन की सारी डिटेल हमें फिल करनी पड़ेगी, और उनके आधार और पैन हमें डालने पड़ेंगे। और हमें एज ए ऑडिटर ये भी एग्जामिन करना पड़ेगा, क्या उस ट्रस्ट से कोई इनको बेनिफिट, जो भी हमारा क्लॉज नंबर 42 है, कोई बेनिफिट उनको उन रिलेटिव्स को या उन स्पेसिफाइड पर्संस हैं उनको कोई पास ऑन हुआ है, नहीं हुआ है। तो इसमें प्रैक्टिकल डिफिकल्टी ये आ रही है कि जितने भी जो सोसाइटी ट्रस्ट हम ऑडिट करते हैं, कि मैनेजमेंट ने कह दिया कि सर हम अपने ट्रस्टी की डिटेल तो आपको दे सकते हैं, पर जो रिलेटिव्स हैं उनकी डिटेल्स को ही देने को तैयार नहीं है। तो इसीलिए मैंने कहा मोरी जी के फोरम में उठाना पड़ेगा कि भी हमें ये देखना पड़ेगा कि इसका क्या डिस्क्लेमर दिया जाए, कैसे करा जाए, क्योंकि हम एज ए ऑडिटर वी विल नॉट बी एबल टू एग्जामिन दैट इफ एनी बेनिफिट हैज बीन पास्ड ऑन टू रिलेटिव ऑफ दोस पर्संस, स्पेसिफाइड पर्संस, and that is also required to be reported in this form 10B.
नहीं, यदि एक मैनेजमेंट रिप्रेजेंटेशन ले ले
मोरे जी,
it has not they have not passed it, that can help ना।
सर मैं एक इंसिडेंट इस बारे में बताऊं। एक ट्रस्ट में मैं ट्रस्टी था, उसका असेसमेंट दिल्ली होता था, और ट्रस्ट ने जब रिटर्न भरा तो 13.3 की कोई डिटेल्स नहीं दी। ये बात हो गई 10 साल पुरानी। ये प्रोविजन काफी पुराना है कि 13.3 का सारा डिटेल्स मेरे को रिटर्न में देना है।
करेक्ट।
तो ट्रस्ट ने कोई भी ऐसी डिटेल्स रिटर्न में भरी नहीं थी। अल्टीमेटली आईटीओ ने असेसमेंट की टाइम में सारे जो ट्रस्टीज थे या उस साल के जो मेजर डोनर्स थे उनको चिट्ठियां लिखी। मेरे पास जब चिट्ठी आई, मैंने तो अपना ब्रदर का, वाइफ का और इनका तो सारा डिटेल्स दे दिया। अब बात बाकी उनका किसका कहाँ बिजनेस इंटरेस्ट है, मेरा और ब्रदर, मेरी वाइफ, उनको छोड़ के मैंने लिखा कि आई एम नॉट ऑन टॉकिंग टर्म्स विद माय सिस्टर्स, दे हैवंट प्रोवाइडेड मी द डिटेल्स। लगातार 3 साल तक ये हुआ मेरे साथ। उसके बाद फिर उस ITO के पास से मैंने डिपार्टमेंट से मेरे पास चिट्ठी नहीं आई, नहीं तो लगातार 3 साल उस असेसमेंट में ये इस ढंग की चिट्ठी मेरे पास आई।
हाँ सर, पर इसमें अभी तक रिटर्न के अंदर पहले मैनेजमेंट को देना था, पर अब एज ए ऑडिटर हमें उसको फिल करना है और सर्टिफाई करना है।
हाँ तो अगर मैनेजमेंट ऐसा देता है, अगर उनसे कंसर्न पर्सन से ये डिक्लेरेशन देता है, वी हैव टू गो बाय कि मैनेजमेंट इज नॉट, दे आर नॉट एबल टू प्रोवाइड बिकॉज ऑफ दीस रीजंस।
करेक्ट। हाँ, दिस इज आई वांटेड टू ब्रिंग टू एवरीवन फोरम दैट वी विल हैव टू टेक डिक्लेरेशन फ्रॉम ईच ऑफ द ट्रस्टी दैट कि जो भी आपके रिलेटिव्स हैं, लीनियन असेंडेंट, डिसेंडेंट हैं, ब्रदर, सिस्टर, स्पाउस हैं, वो हमें डिटेल अपने साथ में, हमें बैकअप वर्किंग पेपर्स में हमें लेके रखना पड़ेगा, क्योंकि ये अब हमारा ओनर्स रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी एज ए ऑडिटर हमारे ऊपर आ गया है कि उनको हम पूरा डिटेल हम लें, और देन वी हैव टू एग्जामिन कि जो क्लॉज नंबर 42 के अंदर जो भी डिटेल्स हैं वो डिटेल उसके अंदर फिल करी जाए। ये बड़ा इंपॉर्टेंट है। एक सेक्शन 30 जो 41 क्लॉज नंबर 41 और 42 है, ये एज ए ऑडिटर नाउ द रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी हैज बीन कास्ट ऑन द ऑडिटर, so all these declaration in detail should be obtained, और maybe था एक लेटर ऐसे एज ए ऑडिटर हमें भी ट्रस्टियों की डिटेल लेने के बाद सब ट्रस्टीज को एक लेटर लिखना पड़ेगा इंडिविजुअली, जैसे हम बैंक की कंफर्मेशन मंगाते हैं कि आप अपने जो भी रिलेटिव्स हैं एज डिफाइंड, ब्रदर, सिस्टर, स्पाउस, फादर, मदर, सबकी डिटेल हमें आप दीजिए, उनके पैन और आधार दीजिए, जिससे हम इसमें फिल कर पाए और उसको एज ए ट्रस्ट एग्जामिन कर पाए। ये मुझे इसीलिए मैं जस्ट वांटेड टू ब्रिंग टू एवरीवन नॉलेज, दिस इज द प्रैक्टिकल डिफिकल्टी व्हिच इज बीइंग फेस्ड।
हम रिलेशन खराब कर लेते सर। सर फॉर द पर्पज ऑफ इनकम टैक्स हम ये लिख दे कि हमारे रिलेशन सबसे खराब, हमारे कोई रिलेटिव्स हमारी बातचीत में नहीं है, तो
नहीं, I cannot suggest that as a auditor. You see, as an auditor I am asking because we are right now on the forum of auditors. So as an auditor we will have to take from the trustee, and I think by just saying somebody की relation मेरे खराब हैं, उसको वो relative की definition से वो out नहीं हो जाएंगे, या जो as a auditor हमारी obligation है section जो clause number 41 के अंदर, उसको हम dispense नहीं कर पाएंगे। तो इसलिए इंपॉर्टेंट है कि अगर किसी ट्रस्टी ने और अपने रिलेटिव को वो बेनिफिट दे रखा है और उसने हमें डिस्क्लोज नहीं करा ऑडिटर को, और कल को वो इनकम टैक्स ऑफिसर ने जब उसको एग्जामिन करा, तो उसमें वो रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी हमारे ऊपर भी एज ए ऑडिटर आ जाएगी। सो देयर विल बी दोस रिपरकशन ऑन द ऑडिटर आल्सो। सो इट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट कि ये क्लॉज नंबर 41 42 बड़ा इंपॉर्टेंट, इसलिए मैंने कहा कि हमें एज ए फ्रॉम द मैनेजमेंट एंड मे बी फ्रॉम द इंडिविजुअल ट्रस्टी ये डिक्लेरेशन हमें लेकर हमें अपनी फाइल्स में रखना चाहिए अपनी वर्किंग पेपर के लिए कि जो हमको नोटिफाई दिया, देन वी शुड एग्जामिन दैट। ओके, सो दैट
maybe sir, can we give the note in the balance sheet of the trust that the trust any of the relatives or trustees and beneficial person have not taken any benefit from the trust?
Sir, that will not that will not suffice your audit report ना। ऑडिट रिपोर्ट में आपको मेंशन करना है बेनिफिट लिया है नहीं लिया है। उन्होंने कहा है डिटेल ऑफ स्पेसिफाइड पर्सन एज रेफर्ड, पहले आपको लिस्ट तो देनी है ना, जैसे सर ने बताया इनकम टैक्स ऑफिसर ने लिखा।
Let me complete. Hence, details list of the benefit your related person has not been given. ये अपने को चाहिए ओनली फॉर डिसअलाउंस पर्पज, और उस नोट का रेफरेंस अपने अपने ऑडिट रिपोर्ट में दें कि दिस लिस्ट हैज नॉट बीन गिवन फॉर दैट रीजन, that will be suffice.
I don't know, मतलब my opinion on this is that anyway as an auditor we should ask the management and the trustees list, and if they say we are not able to give or whatever list they are giving, that we will have to put in this clause 41.
Sir, list जब half list देते हैं या full list देते हैं, it makes big difference. So why will give the only few names of few person? If we give in the balance sheet, the balance sheet is signed by the trustees, they are accepting that. On that note basis, we give the reference in our audit report that the list of the related person has not been given because no one has taken any benefit, as referred in note such, note number such and such in the balance sheet, notes on account. I think that will be a major relief for us also, because it is very difficult to give in the big trust. There are about 20, 25, 30 trustees are there. If we going to pull up all the details, it will take months to month time.
But that is the onus cast on the auditors. That may be individual opinion. That is, you have a very good opinion. I agree. There is one opinion, but I feel that still one should, because one sometimes because this is a new form and when the obligation has been cast by the income tax authorities on us, we should make endeavor our effort to obtain the list, and whatever is the information, if you see, whatever information we will get from the management, because whatever they put in the balance sheet, but still we will have to go and do that audit. We cannot take the final balance sheet as sacrosanct. As an auditor, we have to examine the books of account after that only. So I think we have a responsibility towards that. Maybe, so we will discuss more on that. Maybe now we can take the queries and the answers. Sir, we can start with the queries and the answer. Yes.
I recognize the presence of CA Manoj Ji Fogla, very learned person, chartered accountant, who is also in this today's meeting. Welcome,
Yes,
Manoj Ji
Manoj ji,
Fogla.
if you can
Manoj Ji Fogla, welcome.
start your video. Manoj ji.
Manoj Ji, the audience would like to see you. Please, if you can start your video, please. Manoj Ji, welcome. In the meantime, we will start. Mr. Vishal has some question. Please unmute and raise your question.
Hello.
Vishal.
Sir, good afternoon. Hello.
बोलिए विशाल जी, बोलिए.
One of our religious trust is there has received a 12A provisional registration exemption on November 21 under section 12AB. Then subsequently we applied for final registration in September 22. Okay, but in the final hearing for registration under section 12AB on 30th March 23, such provisional registration under 12AB has been cancelled by ITO, stating in the order that Form 10AB application is rejected and provisional registration is hereby cancelled. So now filing our income tax return for FY 22-23, can we claim an exemption of 11-12 of donation received and expense incurred? Because till 38th March 23, I was having a valid exemption certificate, but as on this March, I didn't have a valid income tax exemption certificate. So can we claim exemption? Because at some point of time I was having, on 29 March 23, I was having certificate.
And the new law, you see, you are talking about exemption of ATG by the donors or the exemption of income by the trust for the full year. The income, because 12AB or 12 or 11 section covers the income tax exemption of the donation received by the trust.
Yes.
Subject to the various clauses. And the other is the section 80G, the donation received by the donors, for which you must have filed Form 10BD or whatever it is, which are we talking about exemption to the trust.
Yes. No, but now I need to file my income tax return for FY 22-23.
Yeah.
In that there is an income of 82 lakh and capital expenditure is there of 79 lakh.
Yeah,
so now my profit comes to 75 lakh and on which tax is coming as 27 lakhs.
Yeah.
So I will go in IT-80 appeal, but I need to file income tax return. So which ITR return I should file to get the appeal effect?
No, technically your registration has been withdrawn. So the provision registration was subject to the permanent registration, definitely. So if that, because provision registration is nothing but automatic when you file an application, and they automatically grant everyone the provision registration. So this provision registration is subject to the registration of the permanent registration. So definitely. So this year you will be definitely on the income tax law. When the CPC process your return, there will be heavy demand. But you can still file. I believe you can still file the ITR 7, and you should move to the IT-80. Said why it has been rejected, so that they can direct by the IT-80. They can give a direction. They can give a direction to allow the registration. If you want everything.
So meanwhile, shall I again apply for the final registration, or I shall wait for IT-80?
You should go to the IT-80. You should go to the IT-80. You should go to the income tax tribunal and take the proper relief against the director exemptions order. Against the director exemptions order, you can take the relief from the IT-80. There have been many cases we have contested where the income tax officer or the director exemption has rejected the registration, and
Yes.
then we have go to the ITAT and they have said no, there is no cause which it should be rejected, and the registration should be restored from that date. And once then you can go to the director exemption, and then your exemption will be restored from that date.
Okay,
And
very
if
good.
any demand is raised by the CPC or income tax officer, you will get proper relief after rectification or after appeal effect. Yeah.
So meanwhile, I should not apply again for the trial application, provisional application. I should not apply, na?
Yeah, definitely, because there is already one cause. If you apply again also, again it will be the same result. Once it has been rejected, and
Yes, yes.
and there are some reasons. There have been reasons, so definitely it will be again be rejected. So better to go to the next forum and get the necessary relief.
Okay. Because during FY 11-12, I also had some accumulation which I need to spend in FY 20-23. But my value already got rejected. So I must file ITR 7 only, and that I can claim all the utilization.
Yeah. You should file that only and go to the ITAT, na? Subject to that. So you always, if there is any demand application, you should always write that I have already to the next forum and apply to that.
Okay.
Hello. Mr. Natwar.
Thank you.
Thakkar, will you please unmute yourself and ask question? Natwarji. Mr. Natwar Thakkar.
विशाल जी
Mr. Vishal ji.
Yes, thank you, sir.
आपका हो गया? Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Dindayal ji, do you have any question? Om Prakash ji, do you have any question?
Sir, am I audible?
Yeah.
Sir, my question is, in the case of trust where they receive the grants from the organizations, state government or central government for some objects, whether it will be treated as a, for calculating 10B, 10BB, the total receipts?
Yes, definitely. All the grants, all donation. You see, in the case of trust and society, all the receipts are gross receipts are taken as income. The concept is gross receipt is income, and application, that is any application to any object, even it is fixed, it is taken as application. And for the purpose of audit for income, your income is gross receipt. It may be interest, it may be grant, it may be donation. Everything is taken as gross receipt, part of the gross receipt.
Because we receive and we spend it. So even then, but while calculating, this will be taken as our total receipt.
You see, in trust or society, you receive everything donation, voluntary donation, and its purpose is to spend. Sometimes it comes with a claimer saying that this is for a particular specified purposes. But again, it has to be taken in gross receipt.
Gross receipt.
Normally, there are certain trusts from the point of accounting. Sometimes they create a fund, a particular fund. You see, from the accounting is separate and the income tax is separate. As even earlier speaker was saying, sir, the computation of income is separate. Maybe in your balance sheet, you may take it, may not take in it, sometime receipt also. You may take it as a particular fund or a restricted fund or a specified fund which you have received from a particular government authority or a particular institution for a specific purpose. And then you will be, whenever you make an expenditure, you put it against that restricted fund. Sometimes there are this kind of restricted fund, but for the income tax purposes, it will be taken as your gross receipt, part of the gross receipt only when you are computing your income, and all the income tax section will be applicable to that.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank
you. Yeah. Question from Zoom user. Yes, sir. Question, please.
हेलो.
हाँ, बोलिए
सर. गुड आफ्टरनून सर. सर, हमारी एक सोसाइटी है, स्कूल रन करती है. हमने प्रोविजनल रजिस्ट्रेशन लिया और वो 10 मार्च 2022 से 3 साल के लिए इफेक्टिव है. तो ये प्रोविजनल रजिस्ट्रेशन क्या परमानेंट के लिए 3 साल बाद ही करना है कि क्योंकि स्कूल बहुत पहले से चल रहा था सर. स्कूल तो बहुत पहले से चल रहा था सोसाइटी में. हमने मार्च 2022 में इसका रजिस्ट्रेशन लिया, तो प्रोविजनल रजिस्ट्रेशन फॉर्म 10AC में आ गया था 3 साल के लिए. तो अभी क्या परमानेंट के लिए इसमें अप्लाई अभी करना है कि 3 साल बाद करना है?
Correct. The clause, the income tax says that within 6 months of the activity, you have to apply.
Sir, activity तो पहले से चालू थी सर.
So immediately once you receive the provisional registration, then you should apply for a permanent registration also. because
उसमें
provision.
सर एक डेट पूछता है कि डेट ऑफ स्टार्ट ऑफ एक्टिविटी,
So
वो
you
क्या
should
देंगे सर?
put it immediately, because activity was already, your activity was started already, it was there in function. So you will have to say the activity when you applied it, you will have to put the same date. You cannot, either you can predate it, because ultimately there is a provisional registration for an existing which is already carrying on the charitable activity. So you will have to immediately apply, because it is within 6 months of starting of the activity, or if you don't start the activity, then whenever 6 months before your provisional registration expires. So your activity is already there. So you should immediately, my advice is you should immediately apply for the.
सर ये असेसमेंट ये 24-25 तक के लिए है, तो मतलब 6 मंथ बिफोर जो है मार्च 24 के 6 महीने पहले अप्लाई करना है मुझे,
नहीं,
अभी भी कर सकते हैं?
अभी जब आपने प्रोविजन लिया है रजिस्ट्रेशन और आपकी एक्टिविटी साथ हो गई है, सो द लॉ सेज विदिन 6 मंथ ऑफ स्टार्ट ऑफ द एक्टिविटी, तो आपका तो एक्टिविटी ऑलरेडी स्टार्ट हो गया है।
सर 6 महीने तो निकल गए, तो अभी भी कर सकते हैं अपने लोग?
नहीं, अब वो डेट ये इशू आएगा आपके में, बट माय एडवाइस, माय ओपिनियन इज इमीडिएटली अप्लाई फॉर इट। आप जितना अप्लाई कर दें जितना जल्दी, और वो एग्जामिन करेंगे इनकम टैक्स में, सो होपफुली दे विल नॉट से दैट यू अप्लाइड लेट and they allow your application. हाँ, but I think you should apply immediately. हाँ.
So कौन से फॉर्म में जाएगा सर ये एप्लीकेशन परमानेंट के लिए?
उसके में लिखा हुआ फॉर्म 10 ही है, उसके बाद दोबारा से। हाँ,
ओके थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू।
मिस्टर दयाशरण जी अनम्यूट, मिस्टर दयाशरण जी अनम्यूट, आर यू देयर?
हेलो,
हाँ अमोल जी आप?
हेलो, yeah, good afternoon. Sir, can a charitable trust modify its objects for the objects in the nature of yes? And what are the formalities? Now it's a charitable trust. They intend to do religious activities also.
Come again. Hello.
Yeah.
Please come again.
A charitable trust. Yeah. Charitable trust intends to incorporate objects of objects in the nature of religious matter. So what are the formalities involved? That's my query.
Definitely any trust or society can amend their objects as per their current constitution. If it is a trust, it will have to go to register of trust. If it is a society, it will have to go to the register of society. From the income tax point of view, once you are making any amendment which is not in line with the object, the earlier object, you will within 15 days you will apply to the income tax officer or the director exemption for again obtaining the exemption, because they will have to review your object and they will have to see whether still they can consider you as a charitable trust and for exemption under section 11. So definitely you can amend them, but you will have to apply again to the director exemption, and if you don't apply, that means automatically your exemption has been withdrawn if you change the objects.
In addition to the question, may I ask you one question? That earlier it was a charitable object, now it is going to be religious object. So will it make any difference in allowability, exemption and all?
Some religious activity up to a particular amount, the religious expenditure is also allowed. So definitely when one will examine and take a declaration how much expenditure they are going to make on the religious nature of expenditure and what kind of religious activity they are going to carry on. So once we feel that if within that entity it will be allowed, then they will allow the exemptions.
Is it worthwhile to first seek permission of the exemption director to modify the trust deed instead of first modifying the trust deed and asking for exemption, asking for the approval?
No, they will only take call once you amend it, and then you have to make an application. You cannot file an application before that. No? You can only make an application. You see, the law is that once you amend, then you have to go within 15 days to the director exemption for an approval, for again approval. So that is the exemption.
But in the registration, sorry to interrupt, but in the religious, registration certificate, it is mentioned that any in our in particular case, that you have to seek permission of the CIT exemptions before making any amendments. In my one particular case,
In the registration
that's
certificate.
the reason. Yeah, conditions that is mentioned. So I think we should first ask the permission of the CIT that we are going to amend modify the objects.
Okay, I'll have to examine that. Maybe we'll have to examine that certificate, and then I can call upon that. If that is there, maybe you can make an application and see the fate.
Right.
What I think the concern of Dasaranji is that at present they are doing charitable activities and running their trust or NPO. And if they convert it to religious, so इधर से charitable भी चला गया, इधर से religious भी नहीं मिला, so then will be a awkward situation of the organization. I think that was the
practically we'll have to see how much expenditure they are going to make, because they are going to add an object which may be called a religious activity, and which is their current expenditure. How much will be the percentage of expenditure they will be spending on the religious activity, whether they already have an ATG exemption also. You got ATG certificate also. Yeah.
No, they are not interested in ATG.
Yeah. So currently you have ATG. Currently you have ATG certificate.
No.
So already.
No, they don't have.
Yeah. Yeah. So practically religious, charitable and religious trust are allowed 12A registration, and you're allowed exemption under section 11. Only the difference is that ATG is not allowed for religious activity. So we'll have to see how much expenditure you're going to make on the religious activity. Accordingly, that can be done. But if you can make a prior application to the director exemption and seek his approval, that maybe we can see that.
Thank you, sir.
Sachi,
thank you.
Yeah, Sachi, unmute yourself and ask questions. Sachi, do you have any questions, Sachi? Yeah.
Hello. Yeah, good afternoon, sir.
Yeah.
सर मेरा 2 क्वेश्चन है। 2022 में एक एफडी आया था हमारा, मैं एक नया मतलब चैरिटेबल ट्रस्ट का ऑडिट कर रहा हूँ, तो उसमें क्या हुआ कि एफडी प्री मैच्योर कर दिया गया। तो एफडी का जो मैच्योरिटी है वो शायद 11 करोड़ का ज्यादा है, तो उसको जो वो रिसीट में आएगा क्या, रिसीट एंड पेमेंट में? और इसके लिए हम 10B फाइल करें या फिर 10BB फाइल करें?
नहीं, फर्स्ट आप कह रहे हैं जो एफडी की मैच्योरिटी प्रोसीड है, एफडी की मैच्योरिटी प्रोसीड है, वो रिसीट माना जाएगा नहीं माना जाएगा, ये कह रहे हैं ना आप क्वेश्चन? तो डेफिनेटली एफडी, अगर आपका एवरीडी फिक्स डिपॉजिट आपका बुक्स में एज अ एसेट आ रहा था, तो उसकी मैच्योरिटी जो उसका प्रिंसिपल अमाउंट है वो तो डेफिनेटली आपकी रिसीट्स में नहीं आएगा। जो उसके ऊपर जो आपको इंटरेस्ट मिला है वही आपका रिसीट या इनकम माना जाएगा। जो एफडी का प्रिंसिपल अमाउंट है कभी भी वो रिसीट नहीं माना जाता है, वो तो आपका मैच्योरिटी है, वो तो प्रिंसिपल अमाउंट था, वो तो आपका उसमें आपकी जो प्रिंसिपल अमाउंट के नीचे एडजस्ट होगा।
Okay. And also that amount is exceeded 11 crores, that principal amount. Okay. So whether I need to file the 10B or 10BB for that one?
नहीं, it doesn't make a difference। अगर आपकी फिक्स डिपॉजिट ऑलरेडी 11 करोड़ की थी and you have received now 11 crore 50,000 and तो आपकी रिसीट केवल 50,000 हुई ग्रॉस इनकम टैक्स के हिसाब से, जो सेक्शन 11 के हिसाब से 11 जो करोड़ आपको मिला है वो तो आपको अपना मैच्योरिटी ऑफ फिक्स डिपॉजिट मिला है, वो आपका ग्रॉस रिसीट में काउंट नहीं होगा
जी। मगर सर रिसीट पेमेंट जो हम करते हैं ना, रिसीट पेमेंट अकाउंट, उसमें तो रिसीट पेमेंट में आएगा ना?
वो रिसीट पेमेंट में आएगा, पर इनकम फॉर द पर्पसेस ऑफ ग्रॉस रिसीट एज इनकम, जो प्रिंसिपल मैच्योरिटी ऑफ एफडीआर है उसको रिसीट नहीं माना जाता ऑडिट के लिए।
अच्छा, ये अकुमुलेशन के लिए, जो अकुमुलेशन प्रीवियसली अकुमुलेशन होता है, इसके लिए इसको नहीं माना जाता क्योंकि इनकम पहले ही रिकॉग्नाइज कर चुके हैं। करेक्ट। ओके, थैंक यू सर।
Thank you. Mr. GL Chaudhary, do you have any question?
Yes, sir. In case of good afternoon, sir. In case of corpus donation, this Form 10B requires the opening details of unutilized corpus donation received in earlier years and invested in a specified mode. But the trust has not maintained such detail, and in the past they have always claimed such corpus donation as fully exempt. So what to do in this situation?
No, new rules, new ways. One will have to follow that. So as earlier also in earlier lecture we said, now we will practically will have to maintain a kind of a cash flow system with regard to each fund, like corpus fund, general fund, any kind of specific fund, because the income tax return and the even audit report require this kind of detail. So we will have to segregate how much the corpus fund we had received earlier and how much have been applied towards various fixed assets or towards fixed deposit, and balance unrealized amount we will have to show. You see, this we will have to do now.
Now for current year it is okay, but past it is not practically, I mean, it is not feasible in fact.
One has to examine your corpus fund, where the corpus fund is invested. Most probably it must be in fixed assets or buildings or various fixed deposit. There will be two ways you must have spent that amount, na? The corpus fund. So one can see that if that has been spent on various assets or capital asset or fixed deposit, so we can take it, utilize against those assets. And if any balance amount is there, that can be taken as unutilized.
But that is not practically possible for to prepare the details, I think. In that case.
Is it practically possible? But now you will have to ask the management to do that, na? And maybe you have to help the management to prepare those details in the best possible way, so that and the later on there is no issue. Definitely, with regard to from 1st April 2021, there have been new corpus law. So practically we are maintaining two corpus funds, because after 1st April 2021, the corpus fund has to be separately maintained in the bank account or some assets or investment, and it has to be specifically details have to be mentioned. And before that, no details were supposed to be kept, and the corpus fund used to be totally exempt under section 11(1)(d). So definitely maybe at the kind of assessment, he cannot force you, but it is always advisable if we can prepare those detail in a memorandum, because in the books of account also now they are saying, when you're saying whether proper books of account are maintained or not maintained, those details are also required under the rule 17BB with regard to the books of account. 17AA. Yeah.
To be more precise, sir, as you said, if you give from 1/4/21, that would be okay. Or,
yeah.
So we can give details from 1/4/21.
That is the law, because now they have changed the law from 1st April 21. So definitely the law cannot be enforced prior to that. But if those details can be prepared, because in the return you will have to file that, and maybe if you can file two different details, the corporation before as on 31st March 21 and after 1st April 21.
And if it is not possible before 31st March 21, then we can give a suitable disclosure.
Yeah, definitely. I think we'll have to wait and see how the department takes that. Definitely, they cannot tax that. Definitely, they are not can impose tax on that.
But it is always advisable to give from 1/4/21 at least.
Definitely, that law is amended from that day.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Roshan Lalji Singhal. Roshan ji, yes, please ask your question, Roshan ji.
Hello, sir.
Welcome.
Hello, sir. Hello, sir.
ट्रस्ट है सर, ट्रस्ट का 12A का फाइनल रजिस्ट्रेशन है और 80G के लिए प्रोविजनल है. हेलो.
यस.
हाँ, बोलिए.
12A के लिए फाइनल रजिस्ट्रेशन है और 80G के लिए प्रोविजनल रजिस्ट्रेशन है सर. अब क्या है कि फर्म को तो, ट्रस्ट को तो फॉर्म 10BD फाइल करने पड़ते हैं. तो क्या फर्म 10BD फॉर्म फाइल कर सकती है इस प्रोविजनल बेस के पे?
हाँ, फाइल तो कर ही सकती है डेफिनेटली,
क्योंकि प्रोविजनल रजिस्ट्रेशन के बाद इसको फाइनल रजिस्ट्रेशन करने के लिए अभी कोई पोर्टल पे कोई भी ऑप्शन नहीं है.
करेक्ट. वो तो डेफिनेटली सबने फिर जो प्रोविजनल मिला है उसी के बेस पे फाइल करा है डेफिनेटली.
हाँ, वही यूज कर रहे हैं और तो कोई ऑप्शन है नहीं.
ऑप्शन ही नहीं है, तो यूनिक कोई रजिस्ट्रेशन नंबर जो है वो डालेंगे आप.
हाँ, उसी के बेसिस पे फाइल कर रहे हैं
डेफिनेटली.
अच्छा, सेकंड क्वेश्चन है सर, ट्रस्ट को कुछ कॉर्पस डोनेशन मिलते हैं. हेलो. ट्रस्ट को कुछ कॉर्पस डोनेशन मिलते हैं सर. ट्रस्ट उनको नॉर्मल डोनेशन ट्रीट करके स्पेंड करती है अकॉर्डिंगली. इज देयर एनी प्रॉब्लम?
See, from income tax point of view, if there is a corpus donation, but there is no letter from the donor, how do you take it as it is corpus or normal donation? It has to be intention of the donor. But if even there is a intention of the donor saying that this is a corpus donation, and because this is the general law, under the general law of the contract, when I give a person a trust some donation to be spent on building, but without spending that amount on building, they spent on day-to-day running expenses or administrative salaries. So I, as a donor, can go to the courts and saying that this is not correct. They have not followed the law because this is general contract. I have told them for a specific purpose, but they are not following that. And maybe if we take it too much far-fetched, because now there is an amendment that if there is any violation of law, and if I file a case in the court of law and if I win, maybe that may be taken as violation under the income tax law because there has been violation in any other law. And then maybe the trust may lose its exemption. Otherwise, the trust, if spending that money at least for charitable purposes, I think from income tax authorities, there may not be any problem because they are making an application out of that.
No, trust is spending that corpus fund towards the purpose of the fund.
Purpose of the objects only, na? Purpose, whatever
Yes.
object is there. Only they are not spending on capital asset. You see, corpus fund, what are the purpose of corpus fund? Corpus funds is the intention of the donor. Let's say if I give corpus is a capital fund. If I give 5 lakhs to a trust, I say you have to use it or either deposit in a fixed deposit, and whatever income you earn, you spend it on the day-to-day charitable activities. Or I give it a 5 lakh corpus fund and I tell them that you spend it on a building or a specific capital asset. You either bring some kind of a machinery for treatment of a patient or some equipment which can help the handicap. So that is the purpose of corpus fund or corpus donation.
नहीं, उसी पर्पस के लिए खर्च करते हैं, लेकिन क्या है कि हम उसको कॉर्पस में ना करके उसको इनकम में पूरा ट्रीट कर लेते हैं और 85% स्पेंड करते हैं।
आप ये कहना चाह रहे हैं उस कॉर्पस डोनेशन को आप कॉर्पस ना दिखा के जनरल डोनेशन में दिखा देते हैं और पर्पस आपने वही खर्च करा है। तो मेरे ख्याल से तो इनकम टैक्स में कोई ऐसा इशू आज तक आया नहीं है। वो तो कॉर्पस में क्योंकि 11(1)(d) के अंदर एग्जेम्पशन है तो वहां पे काफी रिस्ट्रिक्शंस हैं। तो कॉर्पस की जगह आप अगर जनरल डोनेशन में ले जा रहे हैं तो इनकम टैक्स को मेरे ख्याल से कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं होनी चाहिए। कोई आपका ऐसा वॉल्यूशन नहीं बनता है।
बस भाई, थैंक यू सर।
Thank you. Pratik ji, do you have any question? Pratik ji?
Yes, Akhil ji, actually I have two quick questions. The income from the interest on FDRs. Am I audible?
थोड़ा सा ब्रेक हो रहा है आपका।
Voice is cracking. Voice is cracking.
Hello?
Pratik ji.
Yeah. So the firm has got an income from the interest on FDRs. Okay. The income amount is less than the threshold limit. Okay. So is it required to file the form 10BB or D?
No, if your gross income is less than 2.50 lakh, then you are not supposed to get it audited. You should have filed the return by now, by 31st July.
Okay. So the next question is, so say the interest is more than 2.5 lakhs and the trust has invested this amount into the specified funds or the FDRs. So that investment would be treated as a utilization.
But why specified fund? The amount, all the trust money has to be invested in 11(5). But that is not treated as application. Application is only when you are making expenses to a charitable activity or application towards the various any assets. Fixed deposit is not taken as application. Fixed asset is only taken application only in the case of 11(1)(a), where we are dealing with the capital gain of the sale of fixed assets in trust. Only there is a board circular which states as if you make fixed deposit, that also will be treated as application against this sale proceeds. So otherwise, making of FDR or invested in a specified fund is never treated as an application.
Okay. So the next question is, the trust has got a part of its fund as a corpus and the rest is a general fund. But the investment in the FDRs, that's a very good place. The investment is in the form of FDRs. So this last year onwards, they are asking that this corpus fund is invested in, is kept in which manner? So how we would bifurcate that this amount, say 1 lakh rupees of amount is a corpus fund, and the trust has invested 2 lakh rupees as a whole in a general fund, general FDR. So how would we bifurcate that amount?
No, that you've invested out of the corpus fund 1 lakh, out of the general fund 1 lakh. Definitely there will be some source, na?
Yes.
So yes, there will be maybe one FDR of 2 lakhs. So you can always give that the corpus fund is invested in FDR 1 lakh.
Okay, so it is not necessary that that there should be 2 separate FDRs.
Now from 1st April 2021, they want separately, but
Correct.
before that there was no demarcation of the funds. All corpus and general fund used to be kept together only, or to be spent together only. There used to be one bank account. But now from last year onwards, they said that our corpus fund should be separately, either it should maintain separate bank account or separate fund should be there earmarked. So it is better for all corpus fund, there should be a separate cash flow and separate way you are able to maintain that.
All right, thank you.
Nitesh ji Singhania. Nitesh ji Singhania, do you have a question?
हाँ जी सर, मेरा क्वारी ये था कि मेरा एक ट्रस्ट है जो पहले से रजिस्टर्ड था 12AA में, और उसको हम लोग ने 10A फाइल करके रजिस्ट्रेशन कन्वर्ट कर लिया था। 10AC आ गया था हम लोग को 28 मई 2021 में। ओके, 5 इयर्स के लिए रजिस्ट्रेशन हम लोग को ग्रांट हुआ था। तो सर इसमें मेरा 2 क्वेश्चन रेज होता है। पहला तो ये जो 5 ईयर का रजिस्ट्रेशन हम लोग को मिल गया है, इसके लिए हम लोग को वापस 12AB फाइल करना पड़ेगा क्या? पहला क्वेश्चन।
नहीं, दोबारा से आपको, हाँ, जब 5 ईयर का जो मिला है, क्योंकि अभी वो जो रजिस्ट्रेशन उन्होंने दिया है वो एक तरह से प्रोविजनल रजिस्ट्रेशन देके और नॉर्मल रजिस्ट्रेशन दिया है। जब जो एग्जिस्टिंग रजिस्टर्ड ट्रस्ट थे उन सबको रजिस्ट्रेशन दे दिया गया। अब उसके बाद जब वो 5 साल के अंदर 6 मंथ पहले आपको दोबारा अप्लाई करना पड़ेगा, तब उसको वो डिटेल में एग्जामिन करेंगे। तब उसको वो डिटेल में एग्जामिन करेंगे कि आपका ट्रस्ट रजिस्टर्ड था नहीं था, जो सारी एक्टिविटी आप कर रहे हैं वो प्रॉपर है या नहीं है।
तो सर ये फॉर द टाइमिंग जो 6 मंथ्स अर्लियर एक्टिविटी जो चालू होने का क्लोज होता है वो हम लोग के लिए फिलहाल एप्लीकेबल नहीं है।
वो आपके लिए एप्लीकेबल, वो तो केवल न्यू रजिस्ट्रेशन के लिए है।
न्यू रजिस्ट्रेशन के लिए
जो ट्रस्ट, अगर जो नए ट्रस्ट बनाते हैं, जो नए ट्रस्ट जिन्होंने ट्रस्ट डीड बनाई है, सो दे कैन इमीडिएटली, बिकॉज उनको ये था कि वो कब अप्लाई करें, सो दे कैन इमीडिएटली गो फॉर अ प्रोविजनल रजिस्ट्रेशन, और उनको 80GB और 12A दोनों मिल जाएगा। तो दे कैन जनरेट फंड्स एंड वंस दे स्टार्ट एक्टिविटी then they will have to apply for a 3-year registration जो उनको अप्लाई करना है। जो एग्जिस्टिंग रजिस्टर्ड ट्रस्ट थे उनको 5 साल का रजिस्ट्रेशन दिया गया है।
ओके सर, अभी मेरा सेकंड क्वेरी है कि जैसे हमने अब मेरा 10BB एप्लीकेबल होता है हमारे केस में, तो 10BB में क्लोज आता है, क्लोज नंबर 10 1 2 3 4। उसमें सर मेरे को कंफ्यूजन यह हो रहा है कि जहां हम लोग जब डेट ऑफ कमेंसमेंट ऑफ एक्टिविटी वहां सिलेक्ट करते हैं, पहला क्वेश्चन तो हम लोग को यस करना पड़ता है कि आपको आपने अप्लाई कर दिया कि आप लोग को प्रोविजनल रजिस्ट्रेशन आ गया का। तो 1 2 3 4 में सर अभी हमारे केस में कैसे एप्लीकेबिलिटी आएगा इसमें, मतलब जो क्लोज आता है?
हाँ, जो ऑलरेडी है उनका तो एक्टिविटी स्टार्ट हो ही गया है, उसको तो आपको मेरे ख्याल से नॉट एप्लीकेबल ही लिखना पड़ेगा। हमारे ट्रस्ट में, हाँ, क्योंकि हमारे
एक्चुअली उसमें क्या होता है जब भरते हैं तो 1 अप्रैल 2022 का ही मतलब सिस्टम अलाउ करता है, मतलब उसको भरने के लिए, उससे आगे भरने नहीं देता है। तो हम लोग का तो ऑलरेडी 5-6 साल से ट्रस्ट है।
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल, जो जितने भी ट्रस्ट है सबके लिए एप्लीकेबल है। जो एग्जिस्टिंग ट्रस्ट हैं कि जो ऑलरेडी एक्टिविटी कर रहे थे उनको तभी वो रजिस्ट्रेशन मिला है। अब बाय डिफॉल्ट अगर इनकम टैक्स के जो रूल्स में या फॉर्म में उस चीज को उन्होंने टेक केयर नहीं करा है पर्टिकुलर भरने के लिए कि ऑलरेडी एक्टिविटीज चल रहा था, तो उसको जो आज बेस्ट है या तो नॉट एप्लीकेबल कर सकते हैं, या जो बाय डिफॉल्ट आ रहा है उसको आपको करना पड़ेगा।
तो सर 10 1 2 3 4 पूरा मेरा वो नॉट एप्लीकेबल में जाएगा?
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल, क्योंकि एग्जिस्टिंग ट्रस्ट रजिस्टर्ड है हमारे ऑलरेडी।
और सर एक क्लोज आता है 29 में जिसमें पूछा जाता है कि आप लोग के जो भी सब्सटेंशियल इंटरेस्ट रखते हैं, मतलब चाहे ट्रस्टी हो, उनको सैलरी वगैरह कुछ दिया गया है तो, या वो एक्सेस में दिया गया है क्या, तो आपको कमेंट करना है। पहले जो हम लोग 10B भरते थे उसमें एक्सेस वर्ड नहीं हुआ करता सर। तो सर अब हम लोग कैसे जज करेंगे कि मान लीजिए कोई सैलरी दिया गया है, अब वो क्या जजमेंट होगा, एक्सेस है या नहीं है, तो क्या?
नहीं, अब ये एज ए ऑडिटर आपका अपना व्यू है, आपके पास आपको बैकअप रखना पड़ेगा कि जो एग्जिस्टिंग जो भी मैनेजमेंट का जो स्पेसिफाइड पर्सन है उसको जो सैलरी दी जा रही है उसका लास्ट ऑन सैलरी कितना था, उसकी क्वालिफिकेशन क्या है।
सर मान लीजिए कि अगर किसी ने, अगर मैं यस कर देता हूँ तो डायरेक्ट ये सेक्शन 115 में इम्पैक्ट डालेगा उसका?
डेफिनेटली
इसको वो टैक्सेबिलिटी में डलवाएगा, मतलब अगर मैं उसको यस कर देता हूँ?
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल डेफिनेटली,
क्योंकि 115 इफेक्ट करता है इस सेक्शन को बेसिकली कि भाई तुम लोग ने पहले, हम लोग जब 10B भरते थे तो उससे सब अमाउंट लिखा जाता था, एक्सेस वाला बात नहीं आता था, मतलब
नहीं था। अब इसीलिए सारी जो रिपोर्ट है वो ऑडिटर के ऊपर ही रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी डाल दी गई है। ये काफी चेंज ये करेंगे कि आपको इवन एप्लीकेशन, आप देखो ये तो है ही, आपको एप्लीकेशन में भी आपको कमेंट करना है कि कौन सी एप्लीकेशन अलाउड है नहीं है, अगर एप्लीकेशन एज पर दी ऑब्जेक्ट है या नहीं है, एप्लीकेशन कहीं वॉयलेशन ऑफ लॉ तो नहीं है, तो पूरी रिपोर्ट में अब तो रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी आपके ऊपर डाल दी है। मतलब ये तो एक क्लॉज नहीं है, सारे क्लॉजेस को अगर आप ध्यान से देखेंगे तो सब क्लॉजेस में ही वो सारा जो पूरा जो कहते हैं ना मुकुट आपको पहना दिया गया है। पर वो
एग्जामिशन लेने के लिए बर्डन सारा ऑडिटर पे है।
पर वो कांटों का मुकुट है। अब ये फूलों का मुकुट नहीं है, कांटों का मुकुट बनाया गया ऑर्डर को, कि जिससे कि कोई भी जो चीज आप लिखेंगे वो बाद में आके आपको पिंच
मतलब
करेगी।
बेसिकली क्लाइंट को अगर एग्जामिशन दिलाना है तो सारा रेस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी अब ऑडिटर को लेना है।
यही
थैंक यू सिंघानिया जी। नाउ वी विल मूव टू दीनदयाल जी। दीनदयाल जी, यू हैव फर्दर क्वेरी? दीनदयाल जी, Dindal ji, you have raised hands. Any query? Natwarji Thakkar, do you have any query? Natwarji Thakkar, Amol ji.
सर मेरी एक क्वेरी है। हेलो
हाँ बोलिए
सर, 1023C 3AD में जो एजुकेशनल इंस्टीट्यूशन है उनके लिए ऑडिट फॉर्म 10BB रहेगा या और कोई? सर जो सेक्शन 1023C रोमन 3AD में जो एग्जामिशन लेती है एजुकेशन,
बोलिए।
सर मेरी आवाज आ रही है?
नहीं आ रही है, फिर से बोलिए।
हाँ सर, सेक्शन 1023C रोमन 3AD में जो ट्रस्ट एजुकेशनल इंस्टीट्यूशंस एग्जामिशन क्लेम करती है उनके लिए ऑडिट फॉर्म 10BB रहेगा क्या?
हाँ 10BB एप्लीकेबल है।
ठीक है सर, ठीक है सर, ओके सर, थैंक यू।
हाँ हसमुख जी, सीए हसमुख जी।
आई एम ऑडिबल सर?
या
हाँ सर, मेरा क्वेश्चन है, माय वन ट्रस्ट हैज इश्यूड द कॉर्पस डोनेशन ऑफ ₹6 crore, but no separate bank account was maintained, so it was deposited in that bank account, and immediately it was put as a bank fixed term deposit in the same bank account, in the same bank. Whether there is any violation in this year 22-23, FY 22-23?
कॉर्पस फंड,
हाँ कॉर्पस फंड 6 crore आया, बैंक अकाउंट एक ही था, so we have deposited in that current account, and on the same date we have converted into the fixed deposit in the same bank.
I think in my opinion, because there was no separate bank account to that was available immediately, but you have separately earmarked that fund and made that fixed deposit of that corpus, so there should be no violation. Should not be taken.
No problem, sir. My one under question, sir. In my one trust, there was actually we had intended for provisional registration, but because of the mistake, we have used the section Roman 1, which is for renewal of the registration, 12EC. So, and department has given it as a regular registration for 5 years. Then what we can do now?
That is, I think, if the 30th September, the condonation will have to make again application. It was allowed only, I think, up to 30th September, na? If anybody has.
We had already verified, but in that situation, we could not apply Form 10AB.
You see, from my view, if something has been done wrongly, because it was provisional registration was applied for 3 years, should have been there, but for 5 years, that should not be valid. That is not
yes, sir, but we had not attached.
Whatever you do, that is automatic, na? From the income tax law.
But only section number was wrongly given. Only section number was wrongly given.
So you can make an application. You can make an. You see, what you can do is you can make an application to director exemption, and saying that this is. Can you rectify that? Maybe you can give an application to the director income tax and condonation, and make an application. Maybe the chief commissioner or commissioner can condone it. And
otherwise, what will come? The matter will be highlighted, and if it will not condemn the return we have already filed, it will be reopened.
It can be done. So maybe you will have.
So, is there any valid legal safer way, sir?
Sir, only you will have to apply to director exemption for rectification. Whatever may be saying that this was a computer error or we filed this form and because of the COVID, because when the form came, it was COVID and there was so much problem because of computer error. This because they sometimes they have also issued wrong certificates. If you see, there have been so many clarification by the board and the circular by the board that instead of the regular registration, they had issued the provision registration certificate. So maybe you can take feedback to that, that you had applied for the correct form, but somehow you got this 5 years certificate. So maybe they will
Right, right.
amend that, because there is a
Right.
clarification also now from the department also. For so many which we were supposed to get 5 years, they were issued a provisional registration. So then they
Yeah.
got a circular. So maybe you can apply, said, so this is, we had applied for a provisional thing for 3 years, but we have got a 5 year. So kindly amend, and then maybe they will amend it.
This is the only option.
This is the only option.
Thank you.
Sir, regarding one more question, sir. Sir, one more question, please, sir.
Hello.
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 Yeah, Pushpendra, do you
You
have
will
any
have to
question?
take. You will
Yes,
have
sir.
to take
Yes,
the.
I have a question.
Yeah, you will have to take the benefit of the hand of God. This was because
Okay,
of the
sir.
hand of God. So
Okay, sir.
this
Thank you. Thank you.
happened.
Thank you. Sorry, sir.
Hello,
Pushpendra,
sir.
last
I am
question.
Pushpendra. Sir, my question is, one trust is having expenditure of 90%. So whether Form 10 is need to be filed, sir?
Come again.
Form is, sir, a trust is having expenditure of 90% of his gross receipts. So Form 10 is required to be filed or not, sir? For
The
accumulation.
form
There is
10.
10 is for accumulation of surplus, no?
If you're saying that if 10% of receipts still remain, and that has not been spent during the year, but
Yes,
now with the new law 115 new law, it appears that they have done away with the basic minimum limit of 2.5 lakhs. Earlier, which limit used to be there, now
Yes,
with the new income tax form and the new law, it appears that if you have not applied, then you should accumulate the balance amount for future years, because now they are not allowing the recent income tax returns form we have filed, and if we have not filed, then they are saying the balance amount will become taxable.
So means in the Form 10 we have to give zero amount accumulation.
You have to give full no, you have to give 10%. Whatever is the balance amount remaining, that you should accumulate,
Sir, but 15% is exempt, no, sir, from means 15% we not need to accumulate, no?
Yeah. So that is correct. So 15, when you are filing a form, 15% will be exempt. So up to 15% you need not need to file. If it is more than 15%, then you need to accumulate. Yes.
Okay, and but what happened? We have a previous year's accumulation, and current year expenditure is more than 85%. So there is no accumulation in current year. So we file Form 10 for showing the previous year's accumulation utilized capital.
You can utilize previous year accumulation, but you cannot say that previous year accumulation you are again accumulating. That will not be correct.
Yeah, that will not be.
That
And
not
sir,
be
in this
already
form,
there are judgments are there. Then you will keep on accumulating for infinity time. That is not allowed as per the law.
and sir, in this Form 10B, in clause number 31, subclause 21, there is a income accumulated or set apart for application to charitable or religious purpose or stated objects of trust or institution to the extent it does not exceed 15%. So then we give this amount here. So this is exempt amount, no?
Yes.
Means this is not taxable. This is 15% is allowed amount.
Yeah, 15% is every year amount.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Mr. Thank you very much. Can I take leave? I already have some appointment after 2.
Yeah, we do have tomorrow also session on this similar topic with speakers, learned speakers. So we will carry on the question unanswered or further questions on tomorrow also. कल के भी तो कुछ रखना पड़ेगा ना.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Ji.
Thank you. And more than 200 attendants were throughout the period of 2.5 hours.
No, thank
you very much, sir, for this nice deliberation and your guest appearance, and you have performed so well.
Thank
And sixer per sixer, super se upar. So many thanks for that.
All efforts to your Mr. More and your team, full efforts, and
Yes,
very
sir.
well. You have been